Marseillaise. Played.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Here with us today, we have Julie Roginsky is back from the continent of Asia, and we have our special guest and wonderful friend Dana Dubois is here with us as well. It is Saturdays for Sanity, guys, and you're watching the Mayday Network. If you're new here, this is what we do. This is what we do here on Saturdays. We try to talk about things that are not politics, and if they are politics adjacent, we try to,
So, Michelle,
about it. Yeah,
I did not know you were going to play that scene from Casablanca, which
I didn't
think
know either until we
which I think is actually the best scene of any movie. First of all, Casablanca is the best movie, period. That is the best scene of any movie, period. Victor Laszlo, hottest man ever. But she was right. She was right to get on the plane with Victor Laszlo. But also, I don't know if people know this. The people singing the Marseillaise there were real French refugees, those actors.
Yeah.
And that was in the middle of the war, so they didn't really know how it was going to turn out. And it turned out obviously well at the end, but this was 1942 and things were not looking so great. And a lot of those people that had tears in their eyes had tears in their eyes for real, because they really were refugees, actors from Europe who had made it to Hollywood to film the scene.
Oh my gosh, I have chills. I had no idea.
Yeah, that scene always that is the best scene of any movie ever. And it's so apt for right now. Also, Conrad Veidt, I think is how you pronounce his name, the guy that played the Nazi. Nazi general, commandant, whatever he was a huge he was German, and he moved to London right in 1933 when Hitler came to power, was a huge virulent anti-Nazi, and for him to play that role was very difficult because of personal beliefs. So I'm a Casablanca fanatic. I love that movie, and I'm so glad you showed that scene.
It's I had it kind of loaded in to start the show last weekend when I was doing this by myself from Pennsylvania. I was the No Kings rallies and marches last weekend. So I was like, let me start. And then, it was kind of in there. And I was like, you know what, let's just play it again, because I just feel like it's so perfect for this moment we're living in. And to be reminded of, that we can have patriotism and love of our country and still disagree with the people who are running it. And we have to continue to talk about that. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure. Everybody in the chat, let us know where you're from and where you are getting to us today. I know there's some people in Liverpool, in England, Indonesia, I saw.
Amazing.
We've got our friend Rosie from Australia, which is fantastic.
Heidi from Toronto is here.
Canada, we love the Canadians.
And by the way, Heidi, thank you for noticing that I have new glasses today.
Those are awesome glasses.
I'm very excited. They just arrived yesterday. I'm very excited. I ordered 3 new pair from Warby Parker, and I feel like I'm seeing for the first time because I haven't had my prescription updated in 4 years, and I've started to get to this point in my life where I'm having to like do this and pull it away from my face when I'm having to read the menu at the restaurant. I was like, this is not a good situation. So
your eyeglasses game is always like fierce.
Yeah.
And
I like really big oversized glasses.
I like, yeah, because I got a big head, I got a big head, and I'm serious. I got a big head, and I need big glasses to kind of make my head look smaller. So yeah.
Speaking of glasses, look at this, you guys. You see this black and blue that I have here? So can I tell the story?
Yes, please.
So I was in Japan. And then towards the end of the trip, and we can talk about Japan in a moment because it is the promised land. And oh my God,
You're ready to go. That's it.
I have so much to say about Japan. But towards the end of the trip, we decided to go to Seoul, South Korea, because everybody's talking about Seoul. Everybody's like, South Korea is like the place now. So I was like, okay, you know what? We're going to be in Japan. It's a really short hop over to South Korea. So why don't we just go to South Korea for a few days at the tail end? We go to Seoul. It is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about South Korea is like everybody talks about Korean skincare.
So it's the thing. Yeah.
Everybody talks about Korean skincare. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to be in Seoul, let me go and see what this is all about. So I have my son goes to school with a boy whose mom is from Seoul, and she knows all her stuff. So I emailed her and I said, tell me a good place. Yeah. Oh my God, I have the best dermatologist. He's amazing. Go see him. And I was like, a dermatologist, really? Because I was just looking for a facial. Like, I just wanted Korean glass skin because they all have incredible. Yeah. Like, no, go see this dermatologist. I said, okay, I'll go see this dermatologist. So Wednesday, the day before we leave, I go see this dermatologist. The language barrier, I thought I was going to be there for an hour getting like a facial or something. The language barrier is a little steep. So they're like, you should do this, and you should do this, and you should do this, and you should do this. And I'm like, okay. That sounds good. I have no idea what they're talking about. Even if they were speaking English well, I still wouldn't know what they were talking about because I don't really, Michelle, you know much more about skincare than I do. Like, this is not my thing. I was like, I just want to look good. They're like, no.
Oh no.
Next thing I know, they are administering propofol, literally to give me general anesthesia for 3 hours.
I can't. What?
Yes.
Wait, you were knocked out for 3 hours?
Knocked out.
In a Korean dermatologist.
In a Korean dermatologist office.
Did you know they were gonna put you under?
No. I mean, maybe they explained it to me and I didn't really understand the language barrier, but I had no idea. Luckily, it was early in the morning. I hadn't eaten anything. Because they were like, did you have breakfast? I was like, no, I didn't. Because they told me not to eat breakfast. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I thought just shots.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was because they were going to give me general anesthesia. Anyway, I wake up. I have 2 black eyes. I mean, look at this. My face is all swollen, as you can see.
I know you sent me a picture and I go, oh my God, are you okay?
Yeah.
They harvest a kidney too? I mean, what did they do when you were under?
Really?
I mean, who is the biggest moron in the world to go to a foreign country and be like, yeah, no problem, you can put me under?
I know, but like Korea, though, I would be like,
Korea. Anyway, this place is super. I trust my friend Kathy because she knows her stuff, super high end. Anyway, the point is, I don't know what they put in my face. It's very swollen, as you can probably tell. I have 2 black eyes, but apparently in a week or 2, I'm going to look fantastic.
Well, you sent me a list of the stuff that they did, and I recognize some of it.
Yeah. I will say the lines here are gone. It's not what it's good. Like, it's better. And because basically they're like, what do you want? I'm like, I just look tired all the time. Like, whatever you do, just make me look less tired because I look exhausted all the time. And their whole thing was, I have really thin skin, which I didn't realize. Like, my skin is really thin, which ages you much faster. Yeah. And also, I don't have any fat in my, like, like they basically were like, put on some weight. So I don't know what they put in my face to make it look a little.
I think they did radius that on your thing. It's
What's
radius is like it's like Sculptra, but it's more immediate. I think it's like
okay.
yeah, it's I'm trying to biostimulant. It like makes your body create its own collagen, but in the meantime, it does kind of help. Like my dermatologist gave me some when I'd lost some weight, and I went in and she was like, "You look dead. So let's help you out a little bit." Yeah, so that was helpul.
Anyway,
I had an event. That's why I went in because I was like, "I don't look good."
What they wanted me to do was some stem cell stuff. Like they wanted to harvest my stem cells.
Yeah.
Them back in, but they showed me that was going to be super expensive.
I know we lost Dana.
We lost Dana.
Am I back?
No, Dana, it's the same thing you had before.
It happens like every time.
Every time. I think you have to go and come back.
I think, maybe do a little refreshy.
Yeah. Wait, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
But you can't see me?
I can't see your beautiful face. Cannot.
Yep.
Okay. All right, StreamYard, what are you doing to me? I'll leave and come right back.
Okay. So anyway, the point is, I think it's going to look.
No, you look great. Yeah.
But so here's my problem. I got to do MSNBC Monday and Tuesday, and I think Wednesday. And so I don't even know what I'm going to be doing here.
Oh, there you are. We see you now.
Yeah.
Oh, now and then she left.
She's gone. So the point is,
yeah. No, listen, I mean,
Michelle CD 4722, same.
Wait, what?
No, not you. I'm talking about her.
Yeah.
He said, just the last few years from sleep deprivation. Totally, sleep deprivation is the worst. Also, caregiving stress, same. Super tired, and same thing. Like, and I didn't realize I had thin skin, but the thin skin apparently does not do a good job.
Yeah.
So,
am I back?
You are back. You are back. Looking good.
Thank you. I do think I bonked my keyboard then, but I'm like, what did I bonk that would have turned because I'm on my phone. I'm not on my computer, so I don't even know. So I'm not going to touch a thing.
Here's the deal. You live in Seattle, my friend, and you are so close to Japan. Like, it was like a 9-hour flight for you.
Relatively speaking, yes.
I mean, for me, from New York, flying to Japan was like...
Yeah, you got to add another few hours.
Yeah, that was like almost a 15-hour flight. But for you, it's like flying to Europe for us here. Yes. And you have got to, like, you guys, if anybody listening, I'm telling you right now, if you are anywhere in any position to get to Japan, just go. It is unbelievable. I will go see a drag queen for makeup help. That's a good idea.
I know. Nobody knows more.
No. Right? I got to go to Hexeth for makeup help. I still have his number. I can give him a call. But it's incredible. It's basically
really.
It's New York without the hassle. Like, it's New York where everything works well. And I think it's so interesting because we sit around, Michelle, you know this, like, we sit around, we're like, we live in the greatest city on earth.
And we do in some ways. Yeah.
And I'll tell you something, no. Like, you go to Tokyo and they've got everything New York has on steroids. Like, we've got Times Square. They've got this thing called Shibuya Crossing, which is like Times Square times 10,000.
Yeah.
And
stuff.
Did I go?
Yeah. Lost you again, Dana. And it's like, and you go to the subway,
or
we hear you, but we don't see you.
Wow. Because I flashed, but I'm back. I see me.
We don't see you.
This is crazy. I'm going to join on my computer instead of my phone.
Okay.
See if that helps. I've never had this happen. I don't know.
Yep.
Okay. I really want to hear about all the skincare stuff though, because I'm sort of remedial, and I feel like Michelle has like expertise, and now have experience, Julie.
Michelle is the person. I sent Michelle a whole list of what they did to me because I was like, Michelle, tell me what they did. Michelle's like, you got good stuff.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay,
here we go.
Anyway, so the thing about Japan is everything works. Like, you go to the subway, and it works, and there's no crazy people on the streets, and everything is spotless and there's no traffic, despite the fact there's 9.5 million people living in Tokyo. And then we went to Osaka, which was equally amazing. Like also the New York thing also works.
Did you go to Kyoto or no?
We went to Kyoto. We saw the stuff. We went to Hiroshima.
Oh, right.
Which I gotta say, you guys, I did a Substack post on this. Hiroshima was fascinating because, like, not to be a disaster porn, but like I've been to Auschwitz, right? I've been to Dachau. I've been to Normandy to the beaches. And Hiroshima is interesting because they don't give you, it's not like they talk about the war in context, because obviously it's a sore subject there. They just talk about in this museum what happened on August 6, 1945. And that's all they talk about, what happened to the people of Hiroshima after a nuclear bomb exploded. And it's so deeply moving and touching because it's purely just about the effects on the city and the effects on the people. Just awful. I did not see Punch, Fancy Nance.
I know people were asking if you
were asking, and if I had more time, I'll tell you, we made a mistake in some ways. We didn't spend enough time in Tokyo. I wish we had spent more time there, and if we had had an extra day. But Punch, Tokyo is so huge that I think to get to Punch, that would have been a whole day. Oh yeah, the high-speed train. So that's the other thing. Like they
come like every couple minutes, right?
Every couple of minutes, we get on the bullet train. It really is super fast. It runs on time. It is lovely. The cab drivers there all wear suits and white gloves.
They probably know where they're going. I always having never been to London, I'm told that like to be a taxi driver in London, like you have to take all the tests and you have to know everything. But it's like in New York, all you need to do is like just have a head. You just have a head and that's all. And you know, they're like, where are you going? And I was like, I'm going to Charles Street. I don't know where that is. And I'm like, okay. And I got to,
The part that pisses me off about New York is when they're like, do you want me to go this way or do you want me to go this way? And I'm like, okay, I live here, so I can tell you which way to go. But if you're a tourist, like you could be really kind of scammed.
Because, 100%.
So anyway, so the point is, and then you are on the bullet train and this conductor comes in and he literally bows to you.
I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Like, what is going on here? The bullet trains are amazing. They were like, the thing is, the only way to describe it is it's New York, but everything works. And you don't realize how much shit doesn't work in this country until you go somewhere where stuff works. And all of a sudden you're like, and by the way, same in Europe, like less people in, like, I'm a huge fan of Europe. The trains there are fantastic. But the reality is it's not, Japan's different. Like even in Europe, things don't work the way Europe. You guys are on strike all the time. It's very annoying. But like in Japan, like shit just works. It just works.
Well, it's like we like in the 20th century, right? Here in the United States, we had all this cool stuff and innovation, and we built all this stuff. We put tunnels under the streets and stuff, and then we just stopped. We were like, no, we're good. We're good. We don't need to update anything. We're good. We're going to do this government subsidized Amtrak and it's going to be rickety and we're going to love it. It's awful. You know, I love the train because I think it's the most civilized way to travel. I wish that they worked better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that we could actually get from point A to point B beyond. Where you are, I think you can train more here. In Seattle, we can go to Vancouver or Portland. Anything else is
different. But I'll tell you, I took a train once from San Diego to LA because I didn't want to drive because it's so much traffic. For people who don't know California, the I-5 is just a shithole. And that was lovely. That was actually, that was Amtrak, and that was really nice. But you can't like think about if you're in Seattle, like how long is that train to Vancouver?
About 3 hours, I think.
If you're in the bullet train, that would be like an hour.
Right.
And
yes,
there's no reason on earth why we can't have that. And we just had this huge infrastructure bill that the Biden administration passed. And I want to know, like, why wasn't Amtrak fun? Like, there's no excuse. There's no excuse for us to have to take the train from New York to Washington and have that take 3 hours. Like, there's no excuse for that.
It's like, well, regular
technology's there.
Like 4 hours, and then the Acela, which is like so much more expensive. The trains are nicer, but it's only 3.5 hours. It's only shaves off of 30 minutes on that on the thing. And I've done Amtrak from New York to Chicago, which is 24 hours. Think about that.
That's a 12 hour. By the way, if you drove it straight, that's a 12-hour drive. So why would you take the train? Like we incentivize people to get in our cars here, and the subways suck. Like, I'm sorry. Now I've been in Japan. Like, here's the thing about Japan.
Okay.
They have the gates, so nobody can get pushed onto the tracks, which I have to say, if you live in New York, and you're on the subway, which I take almost every day.
My biggest fear.
You're constantly worried about somebody shoving you onto the tracks. Mm-hmm. Platforms are really narrow, so it's not like people aren't shoving and pushing.
All it takes is one crazy person to run.
And the thing is, they have glass. Like, it's impossible to have somebody shove you onto the tracks. People line up to get on the train. They literally have lines. Nobody's shoving and pushing. People are quiet. Apparently, you have to be quiet on the train. So by the way, there's internet in the tunnels. So you could actually like be on your phone and
New York kind of has that now, but
and
keep you go.
And they run on time. And there's no, like, we have signal problems. So, or somebody dropped trash onto the tracks. You can't drop trash onto the tracks because the tracks are blocked. Like, every part of it is phenomenal. And it's just, all I can say is it's not impossible, because I've just been to a country that does it. And I'm embarrassed as an American that we can get our shit together.
Well, and they appropriate their funds. Sorry, Dana, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. I'm thinking the thought that's going through my head is I have had a week of enshittification. I've had some changes in my day-to-day life over this last week where I've had to talk to bureaucratic entities. I went to the Mac store last night, which used to be a really fun shopping experience. Everything is now automated and worse. And the phrase that keeps coming to mind is that tech expression of move fast and break things. I'm sure you've heard people say that before. That's what tech leaders do. That it's like, exactly. It's all the tech leaders of like, you move at the pace of business. You iterate, you go, and then you pivot. And AI is, obviously the leading technology right now, where it's like, you just go, you figure it out and you move, and it makes us innovators. And I'm like,
no, it just makes an asshole.
It makes everything, doing it in government is obviously making things disastrous around the world. But listening to you talk about the differences in Japan, I'm like, there are spaces where one should move fast and break things, but it shouldn't be a guiding ethos. Actually, we should be methodical and do smart things that last, that are in real time and spaces. Because right now, the United States doesn't have any incentive to put in bullet trains, because first of all, we can't comprehend them, because people here are like,
oh, my car,
not train focused or plane. And I think it just seems insurmountable, but it's a problem where you can't move fast and break things. You have to be smart. You need a ton of funding initially. And then you need to literally lay tracks, right? You need to build in ways that's not what our country does anymore. And that makes me really sad, because move fast and break things is the opposite of like invest well, spend the money, and then have something that benefits all of us. And I feel like there's a respect. I've heard about Japanese culture that it's very respectful. You were talking about the bowing.
Yeah.
And there's a respect to not moving fast and breaking things. When you move fast and break things, you tend to break people. Yeah. Maybe not literally, but you break their bank accounts, you break their access to healthcare, you break the ability to do simple things like buy a new iPhone or various things that I was encountering this week, because in optimizing, you're making for just an enshittified experience. And for some reason, these things, I feel like these things are tied, that we are no longer serious people as a culture who want to like help the greater good. Right. When you're a post-economic human, you don't care if the train works that well, because your jet will just get you there. Or
and Mary,
you're absolutely right.
You're so right.
It's the individual. Yeah.
And it's gotten even worse. I feel like the tech thing, and Dana, you can speak to this much better than we can, because you're out there and you work in tech. But like, I feel like tech is all about, let me take what's mine
Mhm.
and screw the rest of you. And
and we're all living in our own little movie, like on our phones and everything. Me.
Yeah.
Sucks.
And it sucks. It sucks. And look, I was only there for 2 weeks. It's not like I know anything about their culture, but it strikes me, and somebody else made this point in the chat, that like that's what happens when you don't spend all your money on the military. I mean, Donald Trump just asked for $1.5 million
Oh my God.
for Pete Hegseth to play dress up.
Yeah, to play G.I. Joe with his little toy.
And
right.
And I gotta tell you, like, the stuff that we could be doing with this money.
Right.
We can't even get healthcare for our people. Like, we're talking about bullet trains. Like, we're not even.
Yeah.
What occurred to me is, and the British people in the chat here can tell me, I feel after having gone there, and again, what do I know? I was only there for a couple of weeks, so I'm sure it's quite different if you live there. But I feel like what the British must have felt like circa 1948, 49, where like the empire is over, it's falling apart, and now this is really the American century. And now I went there and I was like, this is the Asian century. And that's before I even went to China. Like, I'm sure if you go to Shanghai, it's even more incredible because China's China, right? And so, but I really felt like our age was kind of over. As much as we sit around and we're like, yeah, America, fuck yeah. But the reality is, like, our time has passed. If you ever read David Halberstam's book, The 50s, which I highly recommend anybody here read because it's very, very good. But it talks about what was happening in the United States in the 50s. We were laying down highways, and we were McDonald's and all the cultural stuff that we were starting to export, right? Hollywood.
Yeah, our film industry. Yeah.
The film industry. And America became this cultural exporter of stuff. Like now, like, look what's happening. K-pop is being exported here.
Oh my gosh.
As much as we're talking about Korea, like when I spoke to this dermatologist, he was like, "Are you going to come back in like 6 months or a year for stuff?" And I was like, maybe, I don't know. Like, no plans to do it. And he was like, "Really? Because that's what people are doing now. They're flying over there."
Yeah.
This stuff, and not because it's cheaper necessarily. Because it's better, safer. Like,
wow.
Yeah, you've got people doing Groupons to med spas to get stuff injected into their face, which I'm like, please don't do that. It's your face. Please go see a doctor or something like that. But it's really expensive. I mean, I don't have kids and stuff, so I can kind of like, budget in this stuff, in my life. But a lot of people can, and I'm fully aware of that. But it's like going to med spas and stuff can be very dangerous. And if you're going to a place like Korea where they have just more trusted people, more regulations probably to make sure everything's safe. And,
wild.
It's crazy. It's
shameful is what it is.
It's
like,
shameful.
As Americans, it's shameful.
We're doing this Americans rewatch, Dana, which you're more than welcome to join anytime. But so Korea is now, did you know this, Michelle, that Korea?
I did.
They're doing an Americans, the Korean version now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's now on Disney Plus, and they're exporting that here. And I bet you, and Squid Games. I mean, like all of these, like this is Korea, you guys. This is like a small country.
Well, there's a new Japanese market thing. I don't know if you've seen this. It's called like hash something. There's a few of them. There's one in Union Square. I think there's a brand new one on the Upper West Side because I passed it the other day. And they had matcha soft serve, and I was like, what? So
my
good.
Kid would love that.
Fish. I walked in, I was like, I'm sorry, what is this? And she was like, oh yeah, we've been here for like a few months or something like that. It's on like 108th and Broadway or something. Okay. And all kinds of like Japanese snacks. They've got the, the green tea Kit Kats and stuff. Then they had a whole skincare section that was all Japanese and Korean skincare. So if you need stuff, but I was like, oh, and it's 2 blocks from H Mart, which is like,
and we have an H Mart by me too. Yeah,
we have an H Mart now too,
which is
a bunch
great.
of them here,
which I prefer sometimes. I'm like, I don't know what any of these labels say, but I'm just going to get out my Google Translate and we're going to figure it out. But the fish, everything is just like, so good. Somebody asked, what's matcha? Matcha is a highly concentrated green tea. They in Japan, it's like ceremonial. It's like part of this thing, but here it's kind of become more, I I don't know, just like a normal thing that you get. It's like a green, it gives you the caffeine without all the jitters and stuff. And it has a very specific taste. And I happen to like it, but
to me, it tastes like grass. It's very bright green. It's pretty.
Yeah.
But people make lattes with it.
Yeah.
Even Starbucks has it now. You can just, I
love it in a soft serve. Didn't know I would, but man, that was good.
With sweetened in a soft serve, I bet that would be really
good.
tasty. And I think what you were touching on a second ago is so true, that like he who rules pop culture rules the world. This is the whole like culture moves politics conversation. My kids, I finally finished watching K-pop Demon Hunters. We'd started it a while ago and I just finished it. And I was like, that's good. But also like Korean film in general is amazing. I mean, Parasite was really the first movie I saw that I was like, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Really? I've never seen it.
Oh my God.
It won Best Picture. It won Best Picture.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so good, Julie. It's subtitles. So you really got to like, have your glasses on, but it's an incredible story about like wealth inequality and
really? Okay.
It's incredible, but it's, I was thinking too, like Crazy Rich Asians, right? Like what a huge movie that was. And I remember that was kind of like my first peek into that world. I'm like, this is real. People are this rich and they're living like this, but I guess they are. And, and I think about White Lotus, right? So this last season of White Lotus, there is a K-pop star. I don't remember her name, but
she's
like the most famous person of anybody in that show. But like, we don't know who she is because we're not K-pop people, but like globally, like she was a huge superstar, and she had this little bit part. She just really wanted to be in the show really badly, so she did it. And they all got paid the same too, which I thought was great. But yeah, I mean, like that's saying something,
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's very humbling, to be honest, to be American and to go somewhere where you realize there is a whole world out there. Because you go to Europe in some ways as an American, and I think there's still a lot of American influence there. But you go to where, to Asia, and it's not to say, listen, there's Starbucks in every corner. I'm not pretending that there's not,
right.
That we're still not running the world in some ways culturally. But there's stuff happening there that is in many ways so much better than what's happening here. And yet we're not even aware.
We're in denial.
We're in denial.
We're still like having this American exceptionalism thing where it really has been, it's been to our detriment that we have no humility at all as Americans anymore. And we just think that we're the greatest and we're doing all the great things, and we are doing a lot of great things. And we were talking with Jeff Jarvis the other day about, how Americans in our film industry, and I was like, I've had many conversations with people. Sorry, I'm dying. Hold on.
Don't die.
Don't die on us.
I'm trying to get rid of this cough. It's brutal.
Same. Are we all sick? Like,
I've been sick for like 2 weeks. It's awful.
This is like week 3 or 4 of mine going away, and my kids have been spiking like 104 fevers for the last week, and we have no idea what. Like, I swear there's like a new variant of something out there.
There is.
The CDC is like, meh.
No, my son had 100, something close to that, like 103 fever right before we left, and this was the second flu of the year. I was like, I didn't even know you could get flu twice once. Yeah.
It was wretched. What was I saying? About I've had many conversations with some of my friends, one of which is a Canadian dual citizenship, and actually he just moved back to Canada because he was like, I don't want to raise my daughter in the United States because I work, he's like, my wife and I went through too much to bring her into this world. We're not going to have her dying in a shooting in school. Or, and we want our kid to have better health care. And so we're going back to Toronto. And I was like, I totally understand.
Respect,
And he comes from a show business family. His sister is a very famous actress, and he's a pretty known person. Well, whatever. I was just telling him. His name is Christian Campbell. He's an old friend of mine. And
Neve Campbell, his sister?
Yeah. Christian actually was officiated my wedding.
Wow.
He's wonderful. He's an old friend, and his wife is a very good friend of mine as well. And they just moved back to Canada. And I was like, I totally understand. But, with that said, you know, we've talked about this because he's like, I have such a love for America. And you say this also, Julie, like in only a way that an immigrant can love America. And that's, he speaks, you know, so highly of it in that way. And he's like, culturally, he's like, I think when all is said and done, the United States will be remembered for the way that we told stories and how we are the greatest storytellers, you know, in the history of the world, and like how we tell stories through theater in a way that we have, like the American musical theater, like musical theater was born here, you know, and same with the film industry. I mean, it's all, it's so unique, and jazz and like all these things that are so uniquely American, and like no one can take that from us, you know what I mean? And so it makes me very, very sad, but at the same time, and I was saying also, I can't remember if we said this on air or not, but a very good friend of mine did the world tour of Hair, the musical. This was like 10 or so years ago.
I love that
and
show.
They did a stop in Tokyo for like a few months. And she was like, you know, she's not a huge world traveler or anything. And she was like, this is the first time I've ever been here. She's like, I didn't want to leave. I like felt like I was going to cry when I left. She goes, even the audiences, which is like, again, Hair is such a uniquely American story. She's like, the audiences were so respectful and so generous with their applause and things, but it was like genuine. And I mean, that's another problem. I mean, I could go on all day about theater audiences in this country.
Are they rough?
Awful.
Really?
I think that, yes, I think theater audiences have gotten so rude and so self-centered, and people with the rappers and stuff in the middle. And like, I think some of this started. So Rock of Ages was a musical that opened in 2009 on Broadway. And they were the first show in New York to serve alcohol in your seat.
Oh, they did?
It was part of the show. It was like part of the show. You were like at this club, you know? But then I think the other theaters and the, you know, producers were like, wait a second, there's a whole other thing we can be doing here to make money. So you can go out to the lobby and get an alcohol like drink in a sippy cup and bring it back to your seat. And so this is all part of seeing theater now, is like getting drunk. And it's just like, it's so unaffordable. It's
totally unaffordable.
It's
Broadway
so
is
unaffordable. I mean, when I finally got to see Hamilton, I looked around and it was like this like super white, very suburban audience of like a lot of teenagers there with their parents, just like not being appreciative of what they're, I don't enjoy going anymore because I'm like, these people suck.
It's funny that you say this because, you know, my French cousin Jonathan, who stays with us all the time and walks me, he is coming. He's always wanted to see Hamilton, and my son has always wanted to see Hamilton, and so he's coming again in a couple weeks. And I was looking at tickets for Hamilton for the four of us, for my husband and my son and Jonathan and me to go. And my husband and I have seen it both a couple of times, but the other two haven't. It's like, I couldn't do it. I can't justify it.
How expensive is it these days? I thought you were going to say the prices have come down because it's been running for a while.
Have in comparison. I mean,
maybe in comparison, it would be like, I think it would be at least $600 for the four of us to go. Like, are you kidding? I could fly to Europe.
That's actually, I'm like, that's not that bad.
That's not that bad.
No, that's sitting in the last row up top. If you want to actually see the play, it would be over $1,000. And I'm like,
easily.
Like,
God, it's awful that I'm like, that's not that bad.
I know. I think I paid like $300 for my ticket.
I know. That's my point. But it is bad, right? Because we're talking. Yeah, you're right, Michelle. Sit somewhere. So you're talking $1,200.
I was in the last, or like third to last row in the orchestra.
In the orchestra pit, right? Not the pit, but in the orchestra. And it's like, it's Broadway.
Crazy. I know. Broadway should be accessible. Theater should be accessible. That always has been and should remain to be, but it's become this unsustainable.
I'm gonna plus one rock shows over that, and sporting events. I'm not a sports person, but living in Seattle and raising kids here, I'm like, they should see the Seahawks play. They should see the Mariners play. And now the Kraken. I'm like, it's $1,000 if I want to bring my two kids to a Knicks
game. Never.
Yeah, and we're really big music fans in this house, and I ran a music website here for years, and my kids now love live shows, but I'm like, they sell out like this because the show, the scalpers get the tickets. My daughter wanted to see Lady Gaga when she was here, and so did I. But it was going to be like $3,000 for us to go see Lady Gaga. I'm like,
my husband's coworker flew her and her daughter to Germany to go see Taylor Swift because it was cheaper.
I did the same thing.
And to see her here.
We saw her in Munich.
Yep. Crazy.
It was
should be
very on fire.
Well, and I tell you, like Bruce Springsteen, as a Jersey girl, I can tell you, who is this man of the people, allegedly has this dynamic pricing bullshit. And it is like he's on tour again now.
Yeah, I would love to go, but I'm like
seen Springsteen, I don't know, 15 times in my life. I have not seen Bruce Springsteen since the Rising tour, and that was 2001, 2002, because it was so unaffordable. And I'm like, I'm not gonna it's just not worth it to me.
Yeah.
And it's not, it is.
I see the up and comers and then they get too famous and I can't see them anymore. Like Lawrence is one of my favorite bands. And I saw them at Radio City last year and I sat like in the front row and I think I paid like $70 or something. Like, but now they're like, they're kind of everywhere. And I'm like, God damn it.
Stan, if you want to see Lady Gaga, come to my house because she's there all the time.
What?
Oh.
Are you friends with Lady Gaga?
I'm not. I'm friends with her parents. They live in my building. And so sometimes she visits and I see her in the lobby.
I saw them on Halloween and we walked past them. I was like, is that? She was like, man, I was like, they look like her. I can see it.
Yeah.
What? I'll be right there.
I'll tell you something. I have never seen anybody with better skin than Lady Gaga.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And her makeup line has like skincare in it.
It's not, I don't know what, she wasn't wearing any makeup when I saw her, but she was walking through the lobby and I saw her, I was out in the elevator with her and I'm looking at her. I'm trying not to stare because obviously I'm trying not to stare, but I'm looking at her skin and I'm like.
I would have said something like, your skin is amazing. She probably would have been like, oh my God, thank you. Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I tell people, I was like, if I think people have good hair, I just stop them on the street. I was like, your hair is beautiful. I don't know. Maybe they think I'm weird, and they think I'm weird, but mostly you just make someone's day. That's all. Yeah.
You totally do. Always disclose when you think somebody looks great.
Yeah, especially people have stopped me on the street. They're like, "Oh my God, I love your skirt." I'm like, "Thank you." It's always other women. You know what I mean?
I always feel like with celebrities, that's a little over. Right. I don't know. I'm very reluctant.
Like stopping celebrities because they're celebrities is one thing, but if someone has like really good skin and then you're also kind of pretending like you don't know who they are, I think that's okay.
Well, okay. Next time I see her, I will.
That's what I'm saying.
Lady Gaga is always in your building. I'm going to tell my kids that when they
come on over. Come on over.
Yeah, they're going to be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That is incredible. Yeah.
Her dad, who is a big Trumper, by the way.
Really?
Yes, but he and I get along very well. Joe is a wonderful guy.
Does he still own the restaurant? Do they still have the restaurant?
Yeah, they still own a restaurant called Joanne's, which is, I want to say, on 68th, 69th.
Yeah.
And something else that Lady Gaga and I have in common, we both have Trumpy dads. See, we're going to be best friends.
I didn't know your dad.
I'm so
well, he has dementia now, so he doesn't vote because my brother and I failed to bring him a ballot. You're welcome, but he's in Florida, so it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, my dad has always been a rabid Republican.
Oh gosh, that's awful.
All right, okay. Mary P123. Remember when Fish tickets were always $125? Yes, I do, and I followed Fish around all of New England. You know,
really?
Trey Anastasio went to my high school. Yes.
Wow.
And I see him. He lives on the Upper West Side, the lead singer of Fish. So once in a while, I see him on the street. That is the one person that I've seen who's a celebrity that I'm always like.
If I saw him, I would not know who that is.
Because they're not a Fish person. Because you guys are not into Fish.
Not into Fish.
But do you know those signs? Just really quick. You know those signs all over New York that are like Dan will teach you guitar. Yeah. I've seen him in like the grocery store, and I'm like,
oh really?
Celebrity. Oh yeah, I've saw him at Fairway a couple times. If you live in New York, if you've been to New York, you go to the front of diners and stuff, and there's all those like flyers everywhere. There's this guy, his name is Dan, and it's like Dan will teach you guitar, and he's like this picture of him, and it's like
for like 40 years.
How
old is Dan now when you've seen him?
I don't know. Gotta be like
100. No, because those signs have been around. He's older than us.
I don't know. When I saw him, like I don't know, he looked like he was like in his 50s. It was like a few years ago.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways.
That's a riot, like good marketing. And I love that that's an inside joke for New Yorkers that I'm like, I don't know who Dan is.
No, and there's all these
beautiful.
Yeah. And if you're in the subway, there's also all these like subway like ambulance chaser lawyers. They're always like,
oh yeah, Celino and Barnes, injury attorneys.
Jacoby Myers. Remember Jacoby Myers when we were little?
Yeah. Remember Celino and Barnes? So sorry, this is also very New Yorky. The Celino and Barnes injury attorneys, 800-888-8888. Don't act or something. Anyways,
what I remember is, I don't know if they have this in Seattle, Cars for Kids.
No.
Oh my God.
Cars for Kids? I don't know what that is.
1-877
Cars for Kids. If there is a hell, it's that song.
It's that song.
Played over and over for the rest of your life.
See, Lawrence and I do this on the Daily Whatever show, but with like South Florida jingles from back in the day.
Yeah.
Like the Miami Herald is 1-800-441-0444. Once you have it in your head, it's a lifer. You know?
God.
What's Jenny's number? Come on.
Jen. Yeah, we all know Jenny's number.
Actually, I don't know if it's still the case, but if you lived in Northern Virginia and you dialed 703, which is the Northern Virginia area code,
and
then Jenny's number, it automatically went to an answering machine that would play that song.
No, that's funny.
Beautiful. Yep. I bet there's still a block on that phone number forever.
Like not in Northern Virginia 25 years ago. I mean, I don't know.
Well, that was intentional, right? Somebody got that to be funny. But like if it's kind of like when you get a license plate and there are random letters and numbers, like it can't say ass, right? Those I don't know if I can swear.
Ass man from like Seinfeld.
Yeah, they won't just randomly assign you things that mean something. So there's a block list, and I bet 8675309 is permanently blocked. Like no one will ever have that phone number until all the Gen Xers are dead, and maybe the millennials too. Anyone who remembers that song has to be long gone before that number comes back in rotation. Otherwise, you give someone your phone number and they're like, no.
In the public domain. You know
what a great revenge song.
Yeah,
this is what that was, right?
Yeah,
it is a great.
It's a great revenge song. Jenny, I got you.
Your number. That song was a banger. You know.
Yeah.
So catchy. So catchy.
Yep.
My mind.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
This is like 6 clicks back, but my mind is still stuck on this idea of American exceptionalism, and there are 2 examples that are really coming to mind. I hear people all the time on the other side of the political aisle, typically being like the U.S. is the best, where America is the best, blah blah blah, and living on the West Coast in a major city and working in tech. To them, I just say, like, have you ever been inside of a Google or Amazon or Microsoft office? That will erase that notion from your head completely, because just looking at the employee base, like so few are US born. So few. And it wasn't always that way. Being my age and having the 20 years of experience that I have seen that change so dramatically. And I'm like, how could you possibly think our education system is the best?
Right.
And the fact, I think it was Charlotte Clymer, who's a Substacker I really enjoy following, who put a note up about this of like, you all who are yelling to get immigrants out of our country because they're stealing our jobs, like, you seem like weak babies. The answer shouldn't be get rid of them because they're taking our jobs. The answer should be, can we improve our education system? Can we fight and actually be the best?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, those people are taking my jobs. And it's like,
well, it's like the white man syndrome. It's like, I don't want to have to compete with these other people who might be smarter than me and make me look like I'm less important. So I'm going to like get rid of everybody. And then I raise to the top. It's the same. That's
100% what that is. And it's another time I observed it. I actually wrote an essay about this. I could put it in the chat if you want, because I just went and found it. I went to LA with my daughter. She was looking at a college there. It's not where she's going, but while we were there, she was like, I want to see like where rich and famous people are. So I was like, okay, let's go to Rodeo Drive. But before we go, she's never seen Pretty Woman. So I'm like, you have to see like at least the iconic, big mistake, huge shopping bag scene with Julia Roberts. So we watched that. We went to Rodeo Drive, and it happened to be the same day that Alex Preddy was murdered. So in my mind, I was like, gutted, right? Like we should hide in this hotel room but I was like, I'm on vacation with my kid. We're going to still go. And I just watched all these like velvet roped areas where there was so much protection and security. And it was like, who and what does the US protect?
Yeah.
Right? We protect wealth. But then in entering these shops in the Pretty Woman era, it was all like very kind of like well-to-do looking, like waspy women, like with their made up faces, and they're very conservative, like Easter Sunday looking clothes. My daughter and I walked in and were ignored in every shop. They clocked us as like not customers, tourists. The people who they were kind of being obsequious to, all foreigners, or at least non-US born people. They may live in the US.
I feel like Madison Avenue, Fifth Avenue is like that too.
You know what? I went.
The wealth shifted too.
Yep. I went to Saks, Fifth Avenue. I want to looking for a wedding dress actually, because I was getting married on a random Thursday afternoon because I didn't want to ruin anybody's weekend by forcing them to spend it at my wedding.
Julie.
So I was like, I did not want a wedding. So I said to my husband, I was like, the only way I'm agreeing to a wedding is if we do this on a Thursday afternoon for lunch so that people can come, or if they don't want to come, they don't have to come, because I'm not going to ruin anybody's weekend, because I so hate weddings and having people ruin my weekend by making me go to a wedding.
Really? I love weddings, but go on.
I cannot stand, like, if you want to give me a present, do not invite me to your wedding. I will send you a present. I will buy you the biggest gift. I will buy you a gift twice its value if you don't invite me to your wedding. That's how much I can't stand weddings. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh.
But I was like, all right, I have to find a dress to wear that's like not a real wedding dress, because I wasn't going to do that. I wanted to find a dress that I could wear again. I was like, I'll just go to Saks. So I go to Saks, and I'm dressed like probably what I'm dressed like right now, right? But I was like, okay, I'm going to spend some real money because it's, you know, I'm going to get married.
Wedding.
Yeah. And I could not get anybody to even look at me. They were it was the Russian, the Russian tourists and like Saudi or whoever.
I was going to say the Saudi.
Yeah. And I could not get anybody. It was like Pretty Women. They were like, please. So I was like, screw this. I wanted the real and bought a used white.
That happened to me at buying my wedding shoes. I went into Bergdorf. I took Craig with me, and I was like, you know, if anybody watches our Americans podcast, Craig's one of my best friends, and I was like, come with me to Bergdorf. I'm going to buy my wedding shoes, and this is going to be like a big purchase because I'm like going to have these shoes for the rest of my life, and I'm going to wear them all the time and whatever. And I walked in there knowing how much I was going to spend, and when I tell you, I was like, can somebody help me? I was like, hello. And, you know, finally I like, you know, she's like, well, you know, that she kind of talked to me in that way. And I'm like, not dressed badly. I'm like put together in the whole thing. But again, it was all like the touristy sort of foreign people getting all of the attention. And then finally, when I'm going to get the shoes, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take these size 7. And she was like, can I get you a glass of champagne? And I was like, now you want to help me? Are you kidding me? It was awful. It was awful.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. You know, I can't blame them, the sales clerks, because
I know
they are commission based, I'm sure. And it's a learned behavior. There's a reason they're doing it.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting for my daughter when we were on Rodeo Drive, because she's beautiful and, you know, she's white, and she had never felt bias like that in the opposite direction. She was like, why is everyone being so rude? Except to credit the Prada store, the like adorable little gay guy in the front of the store who was like, oh my God, girl, let me bring you some more bags. And is like bringing out all these handbags for my kid. And she's like, ah. And I was like, how much is that bag? It was just like a tiny one. And I'm like, maybe that could be a graduation gift. Yeah, it was. Yeah. That was a little, I think it was $3,500. And I was like, God. And my daughter's jaw just dropped. And I was like, yeah.
I can't do it.
Go to the Real. That is where
Real is the best.
Of stuff at a massive discount.
The Real? Is that New York only, or is that everywhere?
No, it's online. The Real it's all secondhand. But I literally got my wedding dress. I got a Tom Ford dress.
Your dress was so pretty.
Thanks. I got a Tom Ford dress, which I will be able to wear because it's basically just a strapless, like knee-length white dress, which you could wear to any party, anytime. and I got it, I want to say for $600. It was, and I think if I were to buy it at a real store, it would be at least $3,000.
Wow. See, that's and all of it's certified. Like they have
It's
people
all certified. They tell you what kind of shape things are in. So I have gotten so much good stuff there. And there's also stuff, because what it is, at least in New York, it's all of these like Upper East Side women that buy it.
Wear
it once, and then are like, no more.
I don't really like this anymore. I don't need this.
And they literally consign it to the Real, and sometimes they don't wear it at all. Sometimes you have stuff with tags.
Yep.
Wow. So, here's a cute little Prada bag. It looks very similar, and it's $950 instead of
But
4,
that's my point. I mean, it's still really expensive, but it's much less than and they're really. I'm such a fan of the Real. It's fantastic. That's why I was like, screw Saks. I'm going to go online and buy this dress.
And Poshmark. I mean, Poshmark's a little more like. No, I mean, you can find really nice stuff there too, but like Poshmark's a really great place to buy stuff secondhand. Like I buy stuff at secondhand all the time. It's also like just better for the planet. And it's like, and there's like the whole thing about there's all of these the fast fashion situation. There's just, entire fields full of people's thrown away clothes. It's really bad. It's
oh my God, do I need these Prada chunky platform boots for $425 in my size?
Dangerous.
It's really like that's the only, literally it's like the only place I shop. It's so good, and it's, Michelle's right, it's so much better for the planet. And
same with furniture too. It's like I always like to buy secondhand furniture, like vintage wood stuff. I like
Etsy, which is really good for furniture.
Prefer it.
Like the chair I'm sitting in right now, I got made at Etsy. So
amazing. And also New York,
what does it say on it?
Remix Market's good too.
Oh, this is it's like a repurposed French sack.
I was gonna say it looks like a potato sack.
It's a potato sack.
That's so cool.
That is awesome.
Well, this chair I got on this indie website called Amazon.com, and I had to assemble it myself. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like kind of niche.
Well, like even I'm just looking at, let's look at my office, okay? That mirror is from Remix Market in Queens. I think I got that for $20. These curtain tie backs are from, I think they're like 18th century curtain tie backs from France. I got for like $100 on Etsy. All this stuff. I mean, those are awards, so those are. But like this is like a record. I put all my records in here. That's like a 1960s thing I got off Etsy for like $50 or something. Like everything, most everything in my house. This desk that I'm on, like 1960s office desk I sit at. So just do old stuff.
I'm all about
it. I don't know. Like I'm not like an energy person, but like I don't know. I just like to see and feel like the history and things. Like I don't like to be the first person who owns stuff. I like to be.
It's okay to be a little woo and say that it comes with a history, and you can feel that. I think that's kind of beautiful.
It's it's like I've always had I don't ever want to live anywhere where there's houses. This is the problem. I would love to live in an old house. I really really want to live in an old Victorian house, but then I got to go live somewhere where there's houses, and I don't want to do that.
So I have a 1930 brick Tudor if you want to come visit.
Yes. Have you seen Dita Von Teese's Architectural Digest episode, Dana?
No, I haven't.
She has a Tudor house in California. I'm going to send you the link because I mean, she's very eccentric, obviously, and has like
she has that red swimming pool.
Yeah, I mean, what?
The swimming pool, but she painted instead of painting it pale blue, she painted the walls of the pool red.
Oh, so cool.
She's so cool. Yeah,
I've seen that. You want to say somebody that I've gone to see perform many times is Dita Von Teese.
Really?
I've never seen her perform, but I love burlesque.
Where have you seen her perform?
In New York.
No, I know where.
I don't remember. There was like a couple of theaters. There's one in like Chelsea. She did like a tour. This is like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something. I've seen her a few times. I went to her book signing. I've got this picture of me like cheesing hard next to her signing the book. And she's of course a work of art.
Right.
She says that like most of her audiences are all women. And she's like, it's not men who are there to ogle or anything. It's like women there just kind of to celebrate how like the art form and like, because it's not you know, it's just kind of awesome. And then like the people that perform with her on tour, like kind of, you know, people you wouldn't expect and like different sizes and, you know, it's great. I love it.
I love burlesque. I've never seen her,
It's
but there's
awesome.
a place in Seattle called the Can that does really cool
Wasn't
burlesque
she
shows.
married to Marilyn Manson for a while?
Yeah, she talks about that. It was not, I don't think it was a very good situation.
Can we just say shocking, Dita? A guy like that, wow, we're really shocked to hear he was not an upstanding human.
But also with her too, like she talks about, because she's from Michigan. I think she's from Rochester, Michigan, I think, something like that, outside Detroit. And she talks about, you know, how she got into the whole thing is vintage stuff. She was like, I couldn't afford all the other stuff that all the girls were wearing, the jeans and stuff. So I started going to vintage shops and combing through, and I started to make my own style. And that's why she does her own hair. She does her own makeup. She does like everything herself. She's very, I appreciate her in all the ways.
I admire that. And fun fact about Marilyn Manson, I went to high school with Twiggy Ramirez, whose actual name is Jordy White. He was in my gym class.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And he and his friend Mark, whose last name I can't remember because he's not a rock star, they used to call me Black Eyes, and I didn't understand why. And it was because my boobs were big, and when we'd have to run, that they would joke it would give me black eyes. So that's Twiggy Ramirez. That's my fun fact about Marilyn Manson. Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, terrible. But I do remember him being like, he was kind of a metalhead. Like, I think he was a year or two younger than me. And he and his friend and I, like, and my friend Denise, we would joke around with them. Like they were fun.
Is Marilyn Manson gone off the scene now? Like, that's it? No more?
Very problematic person.
No, I know, but has he been?
I mean, I haven't seen anything new.
Yeah.
Let's see. I've never followed them. Marilyn Manson discography. Let's see when their last record came out.
Wait, nope, wrong one. This one, yes. Evan Rachel Wood also has had really horrible stories to tell about him. Really awful. Yep.
I see one from 2024 called One Assassination Under God, Chapter 1. So maybe there's a Chapter 2 coming.
Chapter 2.
Yeah, I mean, but who's even paying attention to that? Like, I feel like, what if I can't with him? Just awful. Yes, Evan Rachel Wood did a documentary, Phoenix Rising. Yes, Evan Rachel Wood,
and she's disappeared.
North Carolina. What's that?
She's disappeared.
Yeah.
I think that might just be an aging out of Hollywood thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like Blake Lively. Like, I was reading the New York Post yesterday, and they're like, this stupid PR person
coordinated attacks against her.
Coordinated attacks on Blake Lively. And I was literally reading the New York Post yesterday, and they're like, Blake Lively's career will never recover. I'm like, from what? Standing up for herself?
Yep. You should see influencers who are still being paid in this PR campaign. I've seen all kinds of them coming from women also. I'm like, y'all should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you something. She is... first of all, she's 100% right about what happened. And second, she is standing up. And by standing up, all these assholes who are like, oh no, her career is over. For what? For what?
Right.
I have to admit, I have not done a deep dive into that situation. I've only seen the headlines. But the fact that you're saying this is speaking volumes. I should look more into it.
Yeah.
Because I have been like, oh yeah, Blake Lively, career harmed. That's the net out.
That's yeah. Go ahead.
Consider this. Like the mechanisms and the infrastructure and like the way in which like the Russian disinformation campaigns against Hillary Clinton and like all that with the bots and all that is the same exact thing that was being used against Blake Lively. Like
and Amber Heard.
Not that expensive.
Oh, Amber Heard. God,
Amber Heard. I just want to be very clear that the reason people think Amber Heard is a psychopath is because there was a coordinated campaign to harm her during the Johnny Depp trial.
Yep. And paying influencers to write and say bad shit about people.
Right? Why can't I feel like there should be a counter attack on that on our side of the political aisle. PACs that fund influencers to do the opposite.
Okay.
I mean, we're all doing it for free here on Substack. Like if they want to pay us to go.
The right does it. They pay everybody.
The right does it. Yeah. The left
I will happily take your paychecks to write about and podcast about what I want to write and podcast about anyways.
You know, Emily Amick, A-M-I-C-K, Emily in Your Phone is her thing. She's written a book with Sammy Sage and stuff. She's fantastic. She had a Substack recently about this. There is a young woman whose name I cannot remember right now, but she's been on Instagram for a long time. Her dad used to be in the CIA. And her whole thing was like asking a spy the questions you really want to know. And she would ask a question to her dad, and her dad would answer it and stuff. She has since like made her own thing separate from that as well. And I think she's in college or something right now. She's like young, blonde, very cute, smart.
Is she on? I think I know who you're talking about. Adair. Keep talking because I'm not sure if it's the same person.
Yeah, her name starts with an M, I believe. Is
okay, so different person.
Like but she but sort of vague in her political beliefs. I mean, like it was hard to kind of see like where she stood. I mean, just in general.
So Barrett Adair. That's not her.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Wait, what's her name?
Barrett Adair.
No.
Okay.
She was approached by Democrats and Republicans to make posts about the election. She was offered $8,000 from the Republican side for like one post. And like, it was like $300 or $400 from the left.
Oh, so let's guess who she wrote for.
No, I mean, she came forward with that information and gave it to Emily. She was like, just so you know, this is what we're dealing with. This is the problem we're dealing with, is that the right funds everybody for all the propaganda and for all the messaging and all the coordinated attacks. There's a lot of money being spent on that side. And on the left, you've got elected officials being like, hey, can you come down to North Carolina for this rally or whatever? We can maybe reimburse you for your plane ticket or whatever. And, people really having a hard time. Like, you're like, listen, I got to pay my bills too. I got to keep a roof over my head. I need to pay for my health care. Like, I want to be a part of this, but I can't do it for free. These people with these huge audiences. And we have to be willing to invest in that. And not just with the influencers, but with independent media, all of it.
Right.
Sorry. No, I was going to say the right has no problem throwing money at this.
No problem.
And do you think part of the problem is that the left has this purity test thing where it's like, it won't seem authentic if it's paid content?
It has to be altruistic all the time.
That, and also, I think there's a profound misunderstanding about how to communicate in this world.
Yeah.
There's just a profound, I don't know why these bubbles keep popping up. There's a profound misunderstanding. And meanwhile, the right, like you look at Dave Rubin and that whole crew, they were getting $150,000 a post from Russia. Now, granted, they also have all these bad people. Like
Benny Johnson and Tim Pool were getting $400,000 a month.
A month.
Oh my God.
A month.
Wow. Just think of what it could do for the economy. But
I mean, think about why these people are able to actually do this full time, right?
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. That's 100% what I'm thinking of.
The rest of us have to juggle 27 different jobs in order to, and try to fit this in at 2:00 in the morning. And it's just,
yes,
it's awful.
It's why we're losing.
Right?
There's already a mechanism for doing this. I hate that they're called the right, you guys. That's the worst homonym in the world.
I know.
I'm usually like the wrong side of the political aisle, the MAGA folks. Yeah. There's already a working mechanism. We can copy it. There's no shame in copying it.
Yep.
Any left-leaning, I don't know, billionaires or even millionaires want to fund me personally. I think I speak on behalf of Michelle and Julie too.
Because they're scared. They're terrified right now.
And because they're going to be like George Soros. We hear all the time how we are paid protesters.
I wish I was.
I wish if George Soros was to send some money my way, I will take it. But
same.
Next time anyone say paid protesters, they're going to be like, oh, like who? Benny Johnson? Oh, like who? Tim Pool? Like who?
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro? Like, let's talk about
everything is God, everything is a reveal.
Everything's a projection. Everything is a projection.
Everything.
Like, how am I supposed to afford these Prada boots on the Real for $425? if you don't pay me for my charming personality and political beliefs.
Well, and this is the problem with the donors too, on the right and the left, is Republican donors have no problem, again, throwing money at things and saying, listen, if it works, it works. And their ROI might be big, it might be small, it might be negative, a negative ROI. It doesn't matter to them because they're like trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, right? And they'll just keep throwing money at things for decades because they assume you know what you're doing, so you go try it. And we understand that not everything's going to work.
Right.
Democrats, on the other hand, want to see a 50-page PowerPoint presentation and every single percentage and data point possible. They want to look at it all. They want to put their input. They want to, change lines and ads. Like this is how it is. It's like pulling teeth.
Oh my gosh. To go back to
Sorry, Lucas Hood. Somebody asked, Michelle, is your relationship with Abby Phillips soured? Can you explain if she could have stood up for you more? Michelle, I don't think you have a relationship with Abby Phillips. I was on her show all the time. I have been banned from CNN. I think I've said this before, but I've been banned from CNN ever since January 18th when I wrote a very scathing and very viral Substack about one of their contributors and about how Scott Jennings should not be on TV because he's a pathological liar. And ever since then, I have been banned from CNN, which I knew.
And then you had a tweet go viral when you were overseas about Scott Jennings as well. Because you were mentioned in The Independent.
Yeah, well, because Miles Taylor said that Scott Jennings is a fraud who trashes Trump in the green room, despite defending him on air. And then our friend Joe Walsh jumped in and said, yeah, I've seen that happen too. And then I was like, yeah, me too, because it's true. And that went totally viral. I didn't realize it was going to go viral. But yes, I will probably not ever be back on CNN because apparently Scott Jennings' little feelings were hurt so much that CNN will no longer have me on, which is, I think, says volumes about where CNN is right now.
Oh, yeah.
Does, and probably worth it and also deeply frustrating.
100% worth it. Listen, let me say this about CNN.
Yeah.
CNN used to be the place where people would go for serious content.
Especially if it was like.
Yeah. And CNN is the home of Christiane Amanpour, who I worship. Like,
oh my
I
God,
worship Christiane Amanpour. I think she is
John F. Kennedy Jr.'s old roommate.
Yeah.
Really?
But also a phenomenal, I mean, like, and it's the home of Clarissa Ward, who's still there, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have all of these incredible reporters, especially women, who are just amazing. Like, I have so much respect for Clarissa Ward. I have so much respect for Christiane Amanpour.
Jim Acosta?
Jim Acosta used to be there, right? And they have cheap, and not just there. Listen, like, there are people there who I think are phenomenal. I love Sarah Seidner. I think she's fantastic. I love John Berman. I think he's fantastic. Like, you have really Aaron Burnett, who I think probably has the best show on cable news right now.
Hands down.
So the reality is that they have a tremendous number of really excellent journalists, and they cheapen themselves with Scott Jennings bullshit. Yeah. And when I said that, it was actually, I think, a compliment to CNN, but that's not how CNN saw it. CNN saw
of course not. Of course not, because their little fifis gets hurted.
Well, and they're also completely panicked now about Barry Weiss coming in, who wanted to love Scott Jennings.
It should be.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So.
And that's why, Midas just got Scott McFarlane to join their network. MS Now, formerly MSNBC, dropped people like Katie Fang, which I think was stupid.
Such a mistake.
Total mistake. I mean, Katie Fang's amazing, like so smart. Like, I mean, you know what? I hope she's doing well. And I mean, I haven't talked to her in a while, but like,
I think she is.
She seems to be doing really well.
Say whatever the hell she wants. I know it feels that way. But it's stupid. And MS Now also is doing a big shakeup with their talent. And I guess there's a whole thing between NBC and MS Now and trying to move people around. Was it Pete? What's his name? Peter Alexander is going to be the 11 o'clock now or something. Did you see that?
Yeah, they unfortunately got rid of they gave Chris Jansing, they took away Chris Jansing's show. They're giving it to actually my friend Alicia Menendez, which is great. I love Alicia.
No longer going to do the weeknight, Alicia Menendez?
No, Alicia's getting her own show during the day. And and so, which is great. I love Alicia, but look, there's a lot of stuff happening in cable news. The reality is that cable news is over. Like, they can try to reshuffle the deck chairs on the Titanic. It's over. It's over. And they're all trying different things. Like MS Now is bringing in the Pod Save America guys because on the weekend, because they're trying to get more into the space.
Right. We'll get the millennials and the Gen Zs in if we bring in some podcasters.
Yeah, and CNN's something really weird where they're now having like people, they're having like Jake Tapper do his show, like a podcast now once in a while, which doesn't work because it has to be authentic. Like, that's what they're missing.
Well, right.
It has to be this. It has to be me being like, look at my black eye. You know how I got this black eye? Because I went to a dermatologist in Korea. Like, that's the kind of shit you could not do.
Right.
No. Cable news.
And you don't have to deal with
now, which I'm going to be on Monday. They would put 20,000 pounds of makeup on me, and I would never be able to talk about the reality of my life, which is, look, I have a black eye, and here's why. Right? That's the kind of stuff that I think they're missing. Like, that's the kind of, because when you look into it, and I come from a cable news background. I spent 10 years at Fox, so I can tell you this. When you look at a prompter and you're on the prompter, even if you wrote it, it is incredibly planned, right? Even if I were to write something, if I were to read from a prompter, you know what I mean? From prompter as opposed to sitting here and having an honest discussion about buying my wedding dress on the Real for, no money and having a black eye. Like, that's real life without any makeup on and having rolled out of bed, an hour before coming on here. So that's the reality. I mean, that's
listen, we even tried it when we started doing the morning show, which we are not doing right now because it's too much. Because again, we'd love to hire people because we can't all do it ourselves. When we started doing that, we had scripts in the morning until we started to realize we're like, you know what? We do better once we're off script and start having just like genuine flowing conversations.
Lawrence and I came to the same conclusion. Like, the first 3 Daily Whatever shows, we were like podcasting and then editing and descript afterwards. And so we'd start going and be like, I just made a mistake. Cut, like, take this out in editing. And it didn't make any sense. And I don't come from a cable news background, obviously, but what's coming to mind for me is there should be room for both. These kind of authentic, casual conversations are great. To me, the bigger problem is not the lack of spontaneity, but the lack of credibility and the lack of the abundance of capitulation, I guess we'll call it. Like, the fact that that under Barry Weiss's direction, they're running shows like, is feminism ruining life for women? Bank of America is sponsoring the show.
Phyllis Schlafly has like risen from the dead and is
and even she is like, I didn't even go there.
Remember the Erica Kirk bullshit when Barry Weiss interviewed her?
Yes,
months ago, and it's like,
I can't.
None of it was real.
None of it. Kirk scares the shit out of me.
Bullshit.
She terrifies me.
She's a total fraud.
Total fraud, and that no one can see the hypocrisy of her freaks the hell out of me. But
and everyone's still afraid to say it. I was like, yes, her husband was murdered. Yes, we saw it. It's awful. So sorry that happened. However, it does not mean that we get to just like absolve you from all the other like weird, crazy, fake shit you're doing. Because
just like we couldn't say Charlie Kirk led a terrible life because
he was a racist.
Yeah, he died being shot. Literally, his last words were about guns and mock it, like, oh, well, that's just gang violence, like implying that it's not a real problem. The irony of that still, like, it's crazy. It's actually perfect. It was the perfect ending, and that the net out of it wasn't like, that was like an act of God level of like justice.
Again, like if you believe in God or other than signs and things, if this isn't a sign, we have a gun problem in this country, guys. But nope.
What? That's why I was like, please let there be a like Charlie Kirk gun safety bill that passes from this.
Nope.
We thought
nope. And I'm only able to say this because I don't have a career in cable news, but anyone who officially was part of that authentic ecosystem got canned if they said it.
Remember when MSNBC canned what's his name?
Matthew Dowd.
Yeah, Karen Attiah from Washington Post. Like
and that's why I made that 7-minute video about Charlie Kirk that went super viral. I made it at the Seneca Project because I was like, yo, I've had enough of this. I was like, we have spent the last week and a half apologizing to everybody for saying that Charlie Kirk was a racist, which he was, and a bigot and a misogynist. And, you know,
he was awful.
Yeah. So I was like, let me clip. The first version of that video was over an hour long, and I had to cut it down to 7 minutes.
Oh my God. You're a magician. Yeah. That's amazing.
But it's like, you know, I'm like, don't believe me? Listen to him. Listen to him. There's no editorial anything. I was like, 7 minutes of him. Book ended by Scott Jennings saying that he was a great American and a Republican, you know, perfect Republican or whatever it was.
He was a perfect Republican.
I mean, for this day and age, for sure. For sure.
And what's so fascinating to me is you have like this crazy fight now between Candace Owens. And you've got Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens kind of teaming up on the one hand with Nick Fuentes kind of lurking around. And then you've got everybody else. And you've got Erica Kirk, who's kind of being used by both sides as a, and she's loving it.
Oh yeah.
You guys, if my husband were murdered in front of me, I would not be doing pyrotechnics within a week.
Yeah, nothing says I miss my husband like controlled explosives. You know what I mean? Like it's just,
like, and you have like, listen,
especially in their culture, which is like women shouldn't be out of the home in the first place.
Yeah, and her whole thing, like you got to stay home with your kids. Really? Because
it's Phyllis Schlafly hypocrisy. It's like, well, she was going around telling women to stay home. She was out getting her law degree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you kidding?
It makes me want to just
yeah, and like they're trying in the New York Times. We talked about this on the show with Jeff Jarvis yesterday. The New York Times has been platforming story after story, op-ed after op-ed, normalizing all this crap. And I'm like, are we serious right now? Are we really doing this?
We are furious about this. And we've talked about this on the show before of how like, oh, is it time to get out? And like my kids and their dad are all EU citizens. And I've been like, maybe when they leave for college, they should leave the country, right? At one of the days on the Daily Whatever show every Thursday, I now have a show called Fine Feminist Hour as just a response to this. 2 thoughts on it. One, it is always our least traffic day. You put feminist in the title and people don't show up, but I'm still doing it.
Good.
Because we need to keep repeating that word. But this week we had this, I had this wonderful guest on, her moniker is Letters from a Feminist. She's real new to Substack, but she's getting a lot of traction. And I didn't realize that she is Uzbek and she lives in Dubai. So she's not in the US and she's a college student. And I was like, is this problem with Gen Z men everywhere? And she's like, yes, like that is a US export that we cannot escape. If you leave the country, the problem travels with you because she's like, yeah, all the social media stuff that you have, we have too. And I was like, oh.
Well, she's also in Dubai, which is not exactly known for its.
Well, and people are wondering why women, young women especially, are opting out. They're like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with this. And like Scott Galloway, you know, listen, you're a smart guy. I have nothing, you know, I don't think he's a bad person. But the message that he's putting out about young men is extremely flawed. And he's talking about how young men are like lost and how they need to, you know, man up, essentially. His words, not mine, like, and, you know, be providers and blah, 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 blah.
No, that is not the problem, Scott.
Sure. But it seems almost like there's a little bit of blame being put on women. Like,
yes, I've seen this guy.
I'm like, no.
You know what? I got to say, like somebody who's raising a young man, and you have a son also, right, Dana? Like,
no, I have 2 daughters.
Oh, you have 2 daughters. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you know, as somebody who's raising a boy who's almost 14, like a lot of this is also in how you're raising your kids.
Yes.
And the reality is that, like, if you're raising a whiny little bitch, then that's what you're going to get. And the truth of the matter is, like, my son has been quite critical of the women's Olympic hockey team. He's been quite critical. Yeah, because he's like, who wants to watch that stuff? And I'm like, no. Well, because he's a boy.
You sit down, young man.
And I was like, no. It was like, and he's like, you know, the soccer team, you know, the women's soccer team played the men's soccer team. I was like, no. So, but Michelle, the thing is, you have to nip that shit in the bud, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And like, if he is now going to be a 19-year-old in 5 years, sitting around bitching about how women have destroyed his life, then I have done something really wrong in raising him. And so I would say to all the mothers out there, because it's kind of on us, that like you got to raise,
quite frankly,
well, and the fathers too, but you got to raise boys who become men who aren't going to sit around bitching about how women have destroyed their lives.
Well,
and yeah, and if you are raising a boy who's sitting around as a mother, especially if you're raising a boy who's saying women have destroyed their lives, then I don't think you've done your job.
And I would say yes, and also, boy, are you fighting a really hard cultural battle. Because there's so many forces coming at you that are opposing your work, and the influence of a parent is huge, but it gets lessened as you get older. So you got to start young. I just put a link to a book in the chat on YouTube. I have all these chats open. Let me go put them in the Substack chats as well. Christopher Pepper wrote a book called Talk to Your Boys. He's a health teacher in San Francisco. Like, he teaches sex ed and other health related topics. And he wrote this book. He co-authored this book about, and he gives actual dialogue for like how to have these conversations that are age appropriate with your boys as a way to kind of swim upstream against this cultural battle that is now worldwide. These influences are so insidious and they're so hard. And
and they are. And I have to say, when when Charlie Kirk died, my son came home and he goes,
"Oh yeah, I was there.
You were there, Michelle. That's right. Remember that?" He comes home. Michelle happened to be over that day. He goes, "Do you know that Charlie Kirk died?" I go, "How do you know who Charlie Kirk is?" And he's like, "Are you crazy? Of course I know who Charlie Kirk is." I was like,
"Right.
How?" And he said he's in all the Turning Point USA is on all of his YouTube feeds. So he's watching all his stupid Mr. Beast stuff and all these 13-year-old boy, not apolitical stuff. And Charlie Kirk kept popping up in all his feeds. And he goes, "Everybody, my grades, all these boys are really upset." And I was like, Charlie Kirk's an asshole.
Yeah, he's bad.
I had that conversation, Michelle. I was like, Charlie Kirk. He's like, "No, I know, but everybody."
No. Like, do you know though? Like, he's bad,
right?
Yeah, and I was like, "No, Charlie Kirk's an like. I'm sorry, he's dead, but Charlie Kirk is an asshole. Was an asshole." And the reality is, like, you got to fight against this stuff, because if you don't fight against this stuff, it's coming at them. And again, this is something the right does so well. The left isn't in their feed. No. We're not funding. Mr. Beast is huge. Mr. Beast, who I didn't know anything about until I had a boy.
Oh, my daughters watch Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast was started out as a philanthropist.
Yeah.
As I'm going to give $1 million away. My kids love that shit.
So Mr. Beast. So I guess, I don't know if that's where the Charlie Kirk stuff is coming in, or my son watches a lot of sports. So I don't know. But the reality is, it's all right-wing stuff. And the left is not keeping up. And I don't understand for the life of me. Like, if I were in charge of the DNC, this is all I would be raising money for. I would be setting up a completely separate arm to fund creators, to fund influencers, and to fund getting them into the feeds of young people, because that's where you grab them.
Yep.
None of that is happening right now at all.
Can we start that nonprofit? Doing that?
I would love to.
I would love to. Where is the billionaire who's going to fund it, right? Because Charlie Kirk got funded by a guy. Charlie Kirk went to Foster Freeze at the Republican National Convention in 2016, I believe, and said to him, "Give me $100,000 and I will turn college kids Republican." And nobody laughed at him the way they should have. Foster Freeze said, "Here you go. Here's a check.
Go do it.
Go do it." And I'm sure Foster Freeze, before he died, did that for probably 20 other people, and the rest of them were not successful, but Charlie Kirk was. It was an investment.
Yeah.
And same with Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro got 2 coal mining billionaires to give him $5 million when he was like 19 years old to start his company, and is now worth $500 million.
Yeah. And he was a showbiz kid, so he knew a little bit about what he was getting into and knew how to do it. And,
Michelle and I went out to a very, very wealthy Democratic person.
Yeah.
Or I did a couple months ago. I said, "Give me some money for Mayday." No, it didn't happen. So the point is, It should happen. And not, listen, it doesn't, I'd love for it to happen for Mayday, but it doesn't have to happen for Mayday. Give it to us, give it to you and Lawrence, Dana, give it to 10 other people and see who does something with it. Right?
There should be a coalition.
My whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the rest of my life.
Like, not all of us will be successful, but the reality is somebody will be.
Maybe it doesn't take one billionaire. Maybe it takes a small suite of millionaires or people who just want to put an investment fund together and
the problem is they don't get it. And
that's the
Boston
hard part.
Was like 80 years old and he got it because the guys, the people with money for the most part, and look, the tech guys,
the Republicans, they have a different relationship with their money when it comes to this. Much different. And
I wonder how Melinda French Gates would feel about it. I feel like she would be a natural.
I know exactly how Melinda French Gates feels about it. Melinda French Gates is incredibly intentional about how she spends her money, and it is not on politics. It is on
true.
It is on, I would say, issues that are more aligned with Democrats in the sense that she's about women and empowering women, and Melinda French Gates. Melinda French Gates is a saint. Like, that woman is on such a pedestal in my mind.
Same.
I don't know how to tell you, but she's not.
One of my best friends works for her, and I'm like, because Pivotal is here in Seattle.
No, I know. I've done a lot of work with Pivotal. Pivotal is fantastic, but not political.
True.
And same thing with what's her name?
Mackenzie.
With Mackenzie Scott, who gives money away to really good causes. She'll give money to, I'm making this up, but she'll give money to the Oklahoma City YMCA or something. Like, she'll give money to very little known nonprofits in order to really change their lives in meaningful ways. But again, not political.
If only we knew someone who was an amazing storyteller and who could maybe use succinct videos to help people connect the dots to why these actions move the world politically.
Michelle, if Michelle were given the money, and I was like, if somebody wanted to fund Michelle Kinney right now, I believe 100% that the content that Michelle would put into young people's feeds would change politics. It would change how they perceive politics. It would change their relationship to politics. It would be totally different from the political shit, because Michelle, you know how to do it in ways that, but that's not what's happening right now. And it's just,
how can we change
if I were a billionaire right now, I would not be giving a dime to the DNC. I would not be giving a dime to politicians, period.
I'll say this again. When we did American Girl and it went insanely viral, I'll tell you how this happened.
Okay. It
happened because we had done this Zoom fundraiser in August that had a bunch of famous people on it and stuff. And nothing ever really came of it. And we got a little bit of money from people, but that was it. But there was somebody who was on that Zoom who started following us and saw the ad, and that was Steve Martin's wife.
Oh, okay.
Steve Martin's wife, and then Steve Martin, they saw it, and then they sent it to their best friends, who happened to be Steven Spielberg and his wife. And then apparently, from what I was told from somebody at Amblin, that they spent an entire day sending that ad to everyone they knew, including the Obamas. We heard from Amblin, we heard from Steven Spielberg's people, we heard from Oprah's people, and that was within 48 hours of that going out. Now, if you just start watching that ad, you don't immediately know that it's a political ad at first. Do you know what I mean? It's telling a story that I think resonated with every woman in America. And it wasn't until the end that it connected the dots to what was happening in that moment. You know what I mean? And and it was incredible to hear from them. And it was so flattering. And it was really, honestly, the most validating thing that had ever happened to me, especially after my exit from my last job, and how everyone, used to think I was just a paper shuffler, apparently. Yeah. But yeah, it was incredibly validating. And I think about man, if we had the money.
Well, but what you just said is, okay, Steven Spielberg is a billionaire.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg could have easily given $100,000 to you, right? Steve Martin easily could have given $100,000 to you. All these executives at Amblin could have matched, right? Steven Spielberg could have done an event in LA for you to raise $1 million so that you could go out and create more content. But that's not what happened. And that's the part that pisses me off, because the reality is it's very nice of them to circulate this around to all of their friends and validate you as a creator. And I think that's wonderful, but money is money. And if they want more of that content, they should have funded it. Because
Seneca Project had a really hard time raising money because we're a women's organization, and just, people want to give money. There is an inherent trust that's already built in when you are an organization that's being built by men. And they look at you and they just automatically trust you and they hand over their money. But when you're women, you have to prove yourselves. And listen, if Seneca Project had raised more money, I'd probably still be there because I would be able to have the resources to be at Mayday and there, but we don't. So because I have to do everything, I can't be in two places at once. And that's why really I'm not there anymore.
Right. I'm putting on my corporate tech hat that I'm like, yeah, those kinds of leaders, the Steven Spielbergs or the Oprahs, or at least the people in their entities who would be looking at this, they need a dot connector and they need data, and they need they need the story to back up the data of Republicans did X, they have built Y. The net result of that is clear in terms of where we are politically. Here's what we can do to fight it, and here's what you can do to help. Let's pull that shit together. I don't know.
You raise Oprah, right, as an example, Michelle. Oprah has, and I'm going to just say this, Oprah has unleashed a toxin on the world.
Yeah.
I mean, a few of them, right? Everybody who Oprah has empowered has made the world a worse place.
Worse. JD Vance, Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil.
All of them. Yeah. That's all Oprah. That is all Oprah. If I were Oprah and I gave a rat's ass about the world, I would be funding Michelle.
She was at the Bezos wedding, and I was like, oh, for real? For real? For real?
So was Huma. Well, the reality is Oprah wants to not get involved. Oprah wants to keep her hands clean. Oprah doesn't want to be political. But then Oprah comes and speaks at a Kamala Harris event.
Well, that's why Oprah's people had reached out to us, because they wanted to play our ad at Kamala's last rally in Philadelphia.
Wow.
And so we were trying to make that happen. Of course, the internal politics within the thing. And they said, Will.i.am, no, he gave money and he made this thing. And so they played his thing instead. So we were like, okay, whatever. But that's why, because she was trying to do that and she was there and she spoke out and, but then it was kind of the extent of it.
Yeah. But the thing is, if I'm Oprah, why don't you go fund something to atone for Dr. Oz?
Atone for your sins.
No, seriously.
Seriously.
Oprah, nobody's ever held Oprah to account about why she put these charlatans
cancer research thing or something, cancer funding or something.
Over and over and over, Oprah has empowered. Yeah. It's not like she gave Dr. Oz a one-time slot. She created Dr. Oz. And Dr. Oz had a show that for years peddled bullshit.
Snake oil.
Dr. Phil, right along to the height.
Yeah, you're not wrong about any of this. But as you're talking about all this, I'm thinking of all these amazing creators on Substack, like you two. Thinking of Jessica Valente. I'm thinking of powerhouses who are begging for subscribers to substantiate their work so they can pay their bills.
Yep.
And then I'm thinking of all these shitbag Republican right-leaning influencers who are getting paid to spread crap.
Yeah, who just
That's making me angry.
Yeah, they just shout hate into a black hole because the which is its own economy, right? I mean, like the rage bait stuff, they get money when people click on rage bait. They get paid when people respond to it. I mean, there is a whole thing inside of that. I think a lot of people don't realize. Like when you engage with those people online, they get money from you. Like that's how that works. Twitter pays them. They get money for that.
Thank you for dead naming it. It will always be Twitter. I will never honor.
Yeah, no.
But that's the thing. Don't engage with them because every time you do, you're money to them.
Screenshot them and then post, but don't engage with the actual post because all you're doing is putting money in their pocket. It's literally all you're doing.
Oh, that's maddening. That's so maddening. Yeah, I'm not on. I quit Twitter years ago and have never looked back on that channel. And I know that's probably done me harm in terms of getting bigger, but I won't. I can't.
No, but you're not alone. There's a lot of people who haven't. And when it comes to Mayday, like the one thing that we're really like lacking in is our social management because it's just really hard to do. And like Twitter's kind of the one that's, other than Facebook, which I'm not on personally, I've just kind of, let it go to the wayside because I was like, I don't really care about this platform very much, and I'd much rather we get way more engagement on Threads and sometimes Blue Sky. But again, it just really depends. Like some stuff on Threads will post and it'll get like thousands of views, and the next thing gets 0. Like it doesn't make any sense. I don't
Same
understand.
with notes on Substack. It is I'm going to get a little woo here. The new moon was a couple weeks ago, and I have a couple of friends on Substack who we do we call it the Crone Cocktail Hour, and we do a new moon intention setting. We just started this a few months ago. And my theme for this new moon, what keeps coming up, is get air. And it's so hard to get air in the attention economy. I've only been on Substack for a year. The Daily Whatever Show will hit 1 year on April 24th.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But even in just that year, it's so much harder to get eyeballs, to get air. That's the only word for it. People might say go viral. It doesn't even have to go viral.
Yeah.
Just anything getting any air in. So I'm my brain, it's kind of constantly in the background of like how to get air. And this conversation feels like it's feeding it, because I feel like there are so many elements that something has to take off, right? And connecting the dots of how the right is using influencers and social media, has used them to change the world for the worse, and to try to connect those dots to the folks who have money to say,
well, I'll give you an example of how, right?
Yeah.
It's like I paywall most of my stuff on Substack. Yeah. The reason I do is because I need the money, right? If somebody were funding me, everything would be free and a lot more people would read it, and I'd be able to change a lot more minds. But the reality is you have to balance between being able, because more and more Substack takes up so much of my time that I need to be paid for it.
Yes.
Otherwise, and we don't paywall anything here at Mayday, but we're also not making any money.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the difference. If somebody were to fund it, it would be a different story. And I think that's, I think all of that is really concerning, because you do have somebody in the chat mentioned Zateo. Zateo is funded, I think, by Qatar.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think he won't disclose, Mehdi Hassan won't disclose who it is, but I think he's funded, word on the street is he's funded by Qatar. Well, no shit. That's how you could hire all of these incredible people and do all of this really good work. And that's
so frustrating.
They give him the money and just let him be, and just let him do it.
And they let him do it. And then that grows the channel. And then I'm sure they've made a great return on their investment. But he had seed money to do it.
Look at the Bulwark. The Bulwark was originally funded by one of the Murdoch kids.
It was funded by James and Catherine Murdoch, because they felt a little guilty about their responsibility for Fox News. So they invested a couple $1 million, I think, in the board.
And they were in the red. They were in the red for the first couple of years too. I mean, it really took them a while. And listen, Sarah Longwell is an incredible business person, operator. She's very good at what she does. They all are over there, and that's why they've been able to do what they do.
The people forget, but I don't, because I've been here in Seattle for so long. When Amazon started, Amazon was in the red for years before it ever turned a profit. It was not this quarter over quarter, we have to keep the numbers up like all tech companies are on the stock market. There was a wisdom there of some things don't develop overnight. You need to take the loss for a while in order to get to the good parts. As long as you're focusing on the right inputs, this will grow.
There's no such thing as an overnight sensation. There really just isn't. It's years of work, whether it be a musician or an actor or a business or whatever it is. There's always a runway that leads to the takeoff, and
there's
a lot of funding behind it that lets people pop in really quickly.
All right, because we're out of time. Let me just say a couple of things about holidays. It is Happy Easter to everybody who is celebrating Holy Week this week. This is the first time, I believe, in recent memory, if ever, that the Pentagon did not have a Catholic
so angry about this
observation.
I'm so angry about this.
Really?
Yes, because Pete Hegseth belongs to a crazy ass
Doug Wilson
Church, who thinks Catholics are the Antichrist.
Oh my God.
And therefore they had and by the way, talk about a holy war. Every time Pete Hegseth talks about Iran, he puts it,
Oh my God.
we're doing this for Christ, because he's
Homeland Security had some picture of, like, I think it was Homeland Security. One of those official accounts had a picture of Jesus and like some Bible quote on. I was like,
I mean, this is a crusade that they're on. Just to be
There's
clear,
no doubt
this is a
about that.
crusade they're on. And the disrespect. I'm not Catholic, but the disrespect to Catholics, during Holy Week is mind-boggling.
I listen, I'm not personally Catholic. I mean, there's a whole story. I was not baptized Catholic because at the time the priest at the church like wanted my dad to convert and my dad wouldn't, and that's the thing. But my sister's Catholic, my mom's Catholic, my whole other family's Catholic. Okay, so like, while I am not personally, I take like a personal offense to this because it feels like these are my people in a way, and and I'm not even a believer. It's just it's the whole point of this. I mean, my husband's whole family is Catholic. Like, it's just, this is so wrong on so many levels, but like to remind people, like, this is how they were able to recruit so many Klan members, like in the North back in the day, was like the hatred, not towards just towards Jews, but towards Catholics.
Yeah.
And Julie, you have told stories about Tucker Carlson, like hating on Catholics. Like, this is a whole thing. And the fact that Marco Rubio is Catholic, JD Vance is a newly Catholic, fake Catholic, but he is. And I don't understand how all these people, and I know a lot of Catholics who voted for Donald Trump. How do you look at yourself in the mirror? How does it feel now? And how many excuses are you going to make for this man and for this fascist movement in this country, to make excuses for your own identity and your own religion and your own set of beliefs?
On the other hand, when I was traveling, I read a book that Michelle actually recommended that I read, called Opus, about Opus Dei, and highly recommend this book. Okay. Everybody should read it because I think it's fantastic. But the extent to which that organization has infiltrated our government is insane. And there are two Catholic churches in my mind. There is the Catholic Church that is run by the Pope, that is, I think, doing really, I'm not Catholic, I'm not even Christian, but doing the Lord's work in terms of framing,
like more Jesuit kind of focus.
Yeah, framing how to be a good human being. And then there is Opus Dei and their crazy influence on our culture. And what's fascinating is, I was reading the New York Post this morning, which is a rag tabloid, but I love 6. And one of the things that I was reading was about this woman named Siobhan, whose last name I can't remember, who used to be a person on Saturday Night Live, and how she has this podcast that is going viral that's about Catholics, and how Catholics, she invites all of these people on who are celebrities who are Catholic to talk about their Catholicism. And it's wonderful. And it's a great message. And I'm reading this, I'm like, oh, this is really nice. And Holy Week, like an opportunity to talk about people's religion and how it's great. And then buried in paragraph 6 or 7 of this, she goes, I think all of these people met through the Napa Institute. And the Napa Institute is where all of these celebrities have met, and they've really leaned into their Catholicism. And I was like, whoa. The Napa Institute is run by this crazy right-winger who's very involved in government, who's Opus Dei.
Yep.
That has literally led to this crazy Supreme Court that we have, crazy right-wing government that we have.
Leonard Leo,
all of these people. Tim Burchett is the guy who runs the Napa Institute, Opus Dei.
Wackadoo.
And I was like, wow. So this little page 6 blurb about how all of these celebrities are leaning into their Catholicism and it's all wonderful. And I'm like, oh, this is really nice. If I did not had I not read this book on Opus Dei, I would not have known, but it kind of insidiously works its way in about the Snap Institute. And I was like, wow. And the person who's basically running some Opus Dei Institute right now, who is the head of it, is Bill Barr, the former Attorney General.
Yes. And Peter Thiel has Opus Dei connections as well. He met some Opus Dei person when he was at Stanford. And, let's look at JD Vance. JD Vance has changed his name 4 times. Has really had no core belief system until he realized, and I'm sure someone told him to join Opus Dei. and the Catholic Church. So he converted to Catholicism in 2019. People who convert to Catholicism later in life, I've just like red flag.
Well, but that's happening, by the way. Catholicism is growing for the first time. People are coming back to the church now. Maybe because of this American Pope, and people are like, okay. So. But or is it that, or is it this influence of Opus Dei? Which the whole point of the whole point of Opus Dei is that it's supposed to infuse everyday life with Catholicism, but not the Catholicism that I think people
it's like human trafficking and pedophilia and like all kinds of like and abusing women, and like it's a cult. It's a nationwide cult. And the thing is that this Pope and the last Pope have done a lot of work to squash them out. And this is why the conclave was so like watching who they were going to choose. I was on the edge of my seat because I'm like, if they choose anyone who is aligned with Opus Dei, the power that this is going to give people like Elon Musk and Donald Trump and like Peter Thiel around the world is going to be irreversible. It's going to be so bad. So when they chose this American Pope from Chicago who hates all that shit, it was like it was a really profound moment.
And it's interesting because Pope Leo invited the author of this Opus Dei book publicly to meet with him. As I think a sign. So Francis was moving on Opus Dei before he died. Yeah. And the whole point was he going to be able to do it before he died? Mm-hmm. And ultimately he died before he was able to finally move on it. But what's interesting is Opus Dei was founded by a priest who was aligned with Franco and Hitler.
Yep.
They were on their last legs. John Paul II basically resurrected Opus Dei. He was a huge enabler of Opus Dei. He has a lot to answer for, JP2. And then Benedict was like, I don't know about these people. Francis then becomes Pope and really tries to move on them, bides his time, tries to move on them. And then ultimately he dies before he's able to, but I think Leo's now kind of completing the task. What Francis did, which is so great, is he appointed cardinals who I think he understood the conclave after him. He wanted to make sure it was not going to be Opus Dei, but the influence that Opus Dei has on our daily politics and in our government right now, from our Supreme Court to what's happening in Congress.
Kavanaugh, Gorsuch.
Yeah. It is...
Society.
Yeah, it is really terrifying. So I highly recommend people read this book. It is really fascinating.
And the guy who wrote the guy who wrote the book, we've started following each other. I feel like on Instagram or something like that. So I'm going to DM him and see if we can't have him on. And Shannon Vavich, I believe is her last name. She also now just moved back to the Pacific Northwest. She is a Catholic liberal. She was a military wife for like 30 years. Her husband just up and left her. So she just moved to, I believe, Oregon with all of her kids. And she is a lifelong Catholic and speaks to all of this stuff. She is so good. So smart, and she follows me too, so I'm gonna reach out to her because I think that would be a great conversation to have. Okay, yes, I follow Shannon too. Yeah, see, she's I keep trying to click on that. Yes, she's great. Yeah.
Anyway, let me just tell you the author of this book because I just
Garrett Gore, right?
And I just put the link in all the chats. YouTube and yours and mine both on Substack. Julie,
really good. Really, really, really good. Okay. And another book that I just started reading, and again, I'm not even Catholic, so the fact that I'm reading all these books, really fascinating, called The Longest Week, The Truth About Jesus' Last Days by Nick Page. My friend Bill, who's Catholic, recommended it to me, and it's a history of what was going on during Holy Week. It's not told from a religious perspective; it's told from like a historical perspective of what possibly.
Actually, did you say Gareth Gore is the author, or do I have the wrong?
Opus,
Okay, good. Because what's interesting, and I'm not trying to sound paranoid here, is I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but when you go to Amazon to buy something, sometimes at the top, like right above the area where you buy, it'll say customers who viewed this also viewed, and it's trying to push you to a different product. And they're doing that on this book.
Really?
Yeah, it's pushing Opus Dei, an objective look behind the myths and realities of it, and then inside Opus Dei, the true unfinished story, and Opus Dei, an investigation into the powerful secretive society. I don't know why it's pushing you away from Gareth Gore's book, but
Interesting.
when I look at the detail page here for the hardcover book, it's giving me. You may also want to read these other books.
Could we have John Fugelsang on? I've been on his podcast. John Fugelsang is amazing. Talk about a guy.
I'd love to have him on. He's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Oh, so, he is really good.
I'll tell you this, like my husband is Catholic and he goes to church almost every Sunday, and certainly during Lent, he goes every Sunday. And I sometimes go with him. Like I'm going to go to church with him tomorrow for Easter. I am Jewish. So just to be clear, like interesting. But he belongs to this wonderful, wonderful, very progressive church in New York, which my friend Bill also belongs to. My friend Bill is gay.
Don't you guys call it the something of Hey Girl?
Yeah, my friend Bill is gay. He calls it Our Lady of Hey Girl Hey because he
oh my God, I love that.
More men during their Saturday mass because that's where all the gay guys go in New York. So
I would go to a church of Hey Girl Hey.
Yeah, so my husband, who's not gay, obviously also goes to Our Lady of Hey Girl Hey. And I go with him, and I have always gotten something out of the homily in these churches because the priests are wonderful. They're super liberal. You know, they're basically, I think, they're out, but they could not be more welcoming to everybody. And like to me, that is the best of the Catholic Church. That is the best of the Catholic Church. And you suggest a social media post with your book recommendations to show. Yes, absolutely.
Sure.
I'm happy to do book clubs, by the way, if people want. But I think that then you have this other part of it, which is Opus Dei, which scares the bejesus, no pun intended.
But it's like every religion, right? There's always this like extremist kind of powerful part that's well funded that kind of ruins it for everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm Jewish, so like you have, you know, everything going from the Reconstructionists, which I went to right after the Dana, are you Jewish? I think you are, right? Yeah,
I am. I mean, I'm agnostic, but I'm Jewish.
Yeah, me too. But after the shooting in Pittsburgh, remember that horrible Tree of Life shooting? Yeah. I said to my son, I'm like, that's it. We're going to go to a synagogue tonight just to show support for our people. And I was like, I don't even know what synagogue to go to because I don't belong to one. So there's a Reconstructionist synagogue down the street from my house. And I was like, what the hell is Reconstructionist? And I was like, they're reconstructed from God, because I go there and it's like people
probably don't think you're Jewish. You know what I mean? Like the ones that are super like, you know,
these are the woman's like, it's great to be here if you believe in God. If you don't believe in God, I'm like,
oh, well, that's cool then. All right.
I'm like, are you supposed to say this? Like you're an ally?
Right.
You can just be culturally Jewish, honey, which all New Yorkers basically are. So come on.
Right. What's the part of Judaism like they're like so far right? Like Anna has told me, she's like, there's parts of Judaism.
Like the Hasidic ones?
Yeah, the Hasidic Jews. Yeah. The ones that won't shake hands with a woman.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's so, what I was like.
But that's what I mean. You've got people ranging from the Reconstructionists who are basically atheists to very, very, very right-wing people who, you know, are still like with the hats who are still living like they're living in the 18th, you know, something in the 17th century, the 18th century.
Tradition.
God, I cannot watch Fiddler on the Roof without crying. It's very hard.
I love Fiddler on the Roof. Like unironically, it's a great.
Fiddler on the Roof is like my life story. It's so hard.
That's
so hard for me being a Russian immigrant and leaving. Like I break down watching that. I watched it with my son and then with my husband separately, and I was like, this is too painful. It's too much. My grandmother would talk about pogroms, like she grew up in a little on a toughness type, but like it's too much. But it is, you know, every religion has that. You're absolutely right. I mean, Protestants too. You've got mainline Protestants who are totally progressive and wonderful, all the way to crazy ass, you know, Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, look at the Muslims. I mean, you've got just regular old Muslims, and then you got like ISIS and like Al Qaeda, and like, you know what I'm saying? Like
every religion
exists everywhere, and it's, you know, unfortunate that.
But not every religion has infiltrated the way that Opus Dei has infiltrated our government. True. And now with Hegseth, the way these crazies are infiltrating on the Protestant side also.
This is like some Handmaid's Tale kind of level crazy, like danger. Yeah.
So one thing you can kind of count on from the Jews is it's never going to be like that. There's not enough of us.
Yeah.
Well, in Israel, but by the way, in Israel, it's becoming.
Oh, actually, you're right. I shouldn't even say that. Maybe in the US, it is in Israel.
What's interesting in Israel is you can't get married unless you get married in the Orthodox.
What?
Good grief.
Yeah, all of their rabbi, like you're not considered a real, like I am not considered a real Jew.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not either.
Because I'm not Orthodox. Like, no, Israel has got like what Netanyahu's done by empowering these people is.
I did not know that, and that's nuts.
Oh my God.
Right. The covering of the hair. Yeah.
Like my son had a bar mitzvah. People keep asking why I was in Israel last year during the first Iran war. And I was there because my son had a bar mitzvah, and everybody's like, I can't believe you're supporting the Israeli government. First of all, fuck you. I'm not. I'm supporting the fact that the Western Wall happens to be in Israel. And that's where I wanted to have my son's bar mitzvah. But we didn't have it at the Western Wall because the Western Wall is segregated by gender. And if you are a woman, you have to stand on a chair on your tippy toes, and I'm not that tall, to look over the barricade to the men's side where your son is getting bar mitzvah. And I was like, fuck that. I'm not.
No way. Yeah.
I'm not doing that. So there is an intersection of where the Western Wall and the Southern Wall meet. And it's technically not considered the Western Wall. It's considered the Southern Wall. So you could have a little private ceremony there, which obviously the men and the women could be together. And we had this rabbi who was wearing a Yankees hat. The guy could not have been more chill. We called him Rabbi Jeter. And that's how he had his bar mitzvah. But it's sad because at the same time, which is where my husband ran into Scott Jennings at the Western Wall that day. I was watching
that picture. I was like, stop it.
I know. I was watching all of it. We went to the Western Wall right before. Just that, we could put a little thing in the wall, and I'm watching these women watching their sons' bar mitzvahs, and they're literally on their tippy toes trying to look over the wall. And I'm like, what?
You carried and birthed that boy. That's just
I was like, I'm paying for this shit. Well, it's free actually, but but I was like, come on. And
I'm so impressed you went to Israel for him to be bar mitzvah, though. That's
what?
Next level.
I was not going to have him have an obnoxious New York City bar mitzvah. Like they're so
like a wedding.
And
I can only imagine. Yeah.
And we're not religious.
It's crazy.
No, and we're not religious at all. But we, I am very connected to Israel because my grandmother lived and died there. My aunt lived and died there. I have a tremendous number of cousins who I'm very close to there. And I am very committed to the notion of the fact that Jews, and I say this as a European Jew, Jews are not safe anywhere in the world. And, that's the place. It does not mean I support the government there any more than I support the government here in the United States. But it does mean that I have a connection to that country that's very strong. And if that offends people, I'm sorry, but it's true. And so, I will say that was an incredibly meaningful thing for me to have him bar mitzvah there, because to me, a bar mitzvah is becoming a Jewish man, and it's not about having Beyonce play at your bar mitzvah, which is
or having hype dancers.
Or having hype dancers, which is what every bar mitzvah I've been to.
I'm not even going to ask what that is because that sounds horrible.
Hype dancers are like full grown adults who are like dressed up like they're at the bar mitzvah, but they get on the dance floor and they start doing all the moves, trying to get all the kids to dance. They're there to like get all the kids into it.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Shouldn't kids just do what kids want to do at a freaking
but they need
they're like 13, so they need to like get kids on the dance floor because they're all awkward around the
That's why you get your crazy aunt out on the dance floor.
Yeah. But these
hype dancer.
So we had this really nice ceremony. That
sounds beautiful.
Really chill with our family, and then all the cousins. We had a nice little lunch afterwards. And
nice.
Mary, it's a real job.
It is a real job.
And that was it. There were no hype dancers. It was just really, really, really nice. It was so meaningful and special. And then my husband, as I said, is Catholic. So we did all the Christian stuff afterwards, went up to the Galilee, went up to the Sea of Galilee, went up to Capernaum and saw the Jesus stuff. Wow. I think I talked about this. We went to Mass at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre at 6 a.m. in Jesus's tomb, which is really tiny. You could only have like 8 or 10 people in it. And you're on your knees on this very ancient hard floor in Jesus's tomb with the door locked behind you. It's a little claustrophobic for about an hour. And it was, as I said, I am not even Christian. And it was so meaningful and so beautiful. And it was a Polish priest randomly who did it. So it was all Polish. And it was just my husband and I still talk about it. And my friend Bill was with us, and he said, I had breakfast with him yesterday, and he said to me, he goes, Holy Week has been so special for me because I did go to Israel and I did walk down from the Mount of Olives and into the city the way Jesus did. And I saw the tomb and I saw, all of this stuff. And Julie questioned, do you think the large number of Israelis originally from Russia, Eastern Europe has influenced their hard right turn? No, not at all. I think
I would think it would do that.
No, I think what has influenced their hard right turn is their completely fucked up political system where Netanyahu has been able to cobble together a tiny little majority of the worst elements ever because nobody else wanted to align themselves with it. But because he's such a power hungry asshole, he has completely subsumed anything. So cobbling together a majority of all of these little small hard right parties. And that is who's keeping him in power and allowing him to do what he's doing. And it is awful. It is absolutely disgusting. And the majority of Israelis oppose them, but they're so divided among themselves because there's so many different parties that they can't get their shit together. And he is a really good, there's my dog. He's a really, really canny
on the truth.
And
yeah.
So just
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, there's, and I know we've been at this for a while, but there's one tiny. First of all, there's two things. The Tom Homan update, I will do a separate thing on later today. I do have an update on the Tom Homan story. If you've been following me in the Tom Homan story, this guy sucks so bad, and it has to do with my hometown, which I wore my shirt from Sackett's Harbor. I'll come to that later today. The other thing is I just want to touch really quick on the Final Four from last night, the UConn South Carolina game last night with the women's basketball, because this also has to do with women and how white boomer guys apparently can not be emotionally regulated and can lose their tempers during a game, and it's acceptable, but a black woman has to keep it together. I just want to play this. First of all, so Geno Auriemma is the coach from UConn, one of the best programs in the country for women's basketball. And then Dawn Stanley, who used to be a player, is now a coach at South Carolina. Again, one of the greatest, women's programs in the country. They played last night. UConn really hasn't lost a game this whole season, and they lost last night. And they were losing at halftime, and then they lost at the end. Geno lost his shit on Dawn during halftime, and then lost his temper again, started a fight with her at the end of the game. It was completely insane, unprofessional, and unfounded. So I'm just going to play just like a little bit of this because I just want to give props because this is such bullshit. Hold on. Where is this? Let me go. Here we go.
That South Carolina UConn game was going to be good, but I did not expect Geno to have a toddler tantrum like his mama told him he couldn't get a slinky at Five Below. He said that there were a bunch of fouls happening and Sarah Strong's jersey got ripped. Then they showed the video that Sarah Strong ripped her own jersey. And he got mad because he said Dawn didn't shake his hand before the game. And guess what? That was on video too. Geno is a sore loser. Mad because he couldn't walk into a national championship. And I totally think that his behavior was hilarious, one, but absolutely unprofessional and inexcusable. He should apologize on national TV, but he won't. He won't. He won't be held accountable. He said, I said what I said. I stood there for 3 minutes. Well, Geno, what about this picture that they posted?
So just really quick. So his whole thing after the game, he said, well, in the beginning of the game, she didn't shake my hand before the game. And I stood there for 3 minutes waiting for her. And that's what everybody does. He completely lied. She did shake his hand before the game. And then I'm just going to play this too.
Later. But what the freak was happening? Sarah Strong ripping her own jersey. Geno Auriemma crashing out during his halftime interview. Like, That was so insane. That was heat of the moment, but calling out Dawn Staley and talking crap on another coach in the middle of the game, terrible look. Terrible look. And then to lose to her and have to be held back because I don't know what he said. I need somebody to get on that really, really quick because what was said? I've never seen Dawn get that upset. They were screaming at each other, had to be held back. This is at the end of the game. UConn just lost. You can check out the score here. He skipped her in the handshake line at the end of the game. He just walked straight to the locker room. Whoa. And I get it. National championship on the line. This is a huge game.
So during halftime, he gets interviewed and he starts shit talking the black woman coach from South Carolina.
There were 6 fouls called that quarter, all of them against us. And they've been beating the shit out of our guys down there the entire game. And I'm not making excuses because we haven't been able to make a shot. But this is ridiculous. Their coach rants and raves on the sideline and calls the referee some names you don't want to hear. And now we get 6-0, and I got a kid with a ripped jersey, and they go, I didn't see it. Come on, man. This is for...
And so blaming the other team for a ripped jersey, but she ripped her own jersey.
Forcing Johnson to stay on the right side of the floor, and then right at the correct moment, reaches in and able to get the steal.
Ripped her own jersey. So he's making this shit up. And then
the officials will hold the players now. Dawn and Geno getting into it a little bit on the sideline as Geno has to be held back.
And this is the angle from the stands.
By the way, I love how all these women are defending her and like circling her and
Yep.
Good for them.
Yeah. And and so then after the game, he lies and he's like, says a bunch of stuff. And, Dawn was also interviewed in her press conference and on the sidelines afterward too. And of course she's like, well, what happened, we're going to move on. Of course she has to be measured. She has to be in control of herself. She has to, never seem like an angry black woman or anything like that to be taken seriously. But this guy flies off the handle, creates a scene, lies, denigrates her. And also they have a history. She played for him for the Olympics in 26 years ago. It's really odd because he didn't get his way and he didn't win. And so he basically throws his toys around and has a hissy fit. And I just want to say all of sports media today, USA Today had a whole thing about how he's wrong. Nobody's defending this guy. Nobody.
Good.
And he's
That's
a legend.
rare.
He's a legend, right? And UConn has put literally all their money behind basketball. But this was so insane to watch last night. And I just want to say, the standard in which women, specifically black women, have to regulate themselves and never show their cards, especially in public like this, to watch this man completely lose his mind. And yet women are the emotional ones. Women are the one who can't be handle anything, can't be put in, leadership positions. She was a class act. She is a legend in her own right. And Geno is a big baby, and shame on him. So I just wanted to give a shout out to South Carolina. I hope they win. I hope they win in the end. So anyways.
Michelle, you're an incredible storyteller because I'm like the least sports oriented person you've ever met. I don't know who any of these teams or people are. And I was riveted watching that. And I'm like,
it's infuriating.
It is
infuriating, especially when women's sports is on the up and up. And I know this also because I have friends who work in advertising. So, they've been telling me kind of like what companies are starting to invest more in and like advertising space and things like that. Yeah. So we're trying to build a space where women not only get the eyeballs, but get the same amount of money, the same respect, the same credibility, right? And I'm trying to do that in my own right. Because I haven't always watched women's sports. I'll be the first one to tell you. And I'm really I'm making more of an effort to do it. And I'm like, you know what? The WNBA is exciting. Women's NCAA March Madness tournament is exciting. and more people should be watching. And so if anything, this will get more eyeballs on the game, the drama, right? But I don't think that was Geno's intention there. He just was a man who can't regulate his emotions, and gets to just
like so many other men.
Isn't that funny?
It's universal across every field. You're so right. You're just simply pointing out universal truths. And while I don't follow the games, and I'm certainly not into the like kind of religion behind a lot of sports and sports teams, I love the storytelling in it. The stories of personal heroism, the stories of teams uniting. Yeah.
And March Madness is the greatest sporting event.
You love March Madness. Michelle's been doing March Madness.
March Madness is, and guys, I've been doing coverage with my husband and our other friend who he went to Vanderbilt with, and like we're all sports people. And
I went to Vanderbilt.
What you did?
Yeah, for grad school.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Commodore.
Yes, go Doors, go Doors.
Yeah.
So it's the greatest sporting event in the United States of America because every year it's a different team. People have so much pride where they're from, where they went to school. There's always some Cinderella story. You just never know what's going to happen. I mean, the UConn game the other night with the men and that buzzer beater, that 3-pointer at the end that they beat Duke. I mean, it was insane. I don't know anybody. We're going to be talking about that 3-point buzzer beater until the end of time. It was the most exciting thing. And so even what's going on at my own alma mater, we're bringing our old, player back.
I want to talk about your old alma mater because you guys just got rid of the classics department at Syracuse. Did you read about this?
Yes, I know. Oof. I know. We can do a whole thing on that too.
We have to do a whole thing on that. I'm really
furious about that. Yeah. But we're bringing Jerry McNamara back, who I went to school with, to coach the team and rebuild the team. So it's just, I don't know. There's so much heart and there's so much soul. And like a lot of these kids are never going to go play for the NBA. This is like the last game they're ever going to play. And there's just the stakes are so high, and their whole lives have been, intramurals and school sports and everything is like leading up to this one moment, and like, when they lose the game of the tournament, for a lot of them, it's the last game they're ever going to play. And it's just like, it's the greatest. It's the greatest.
I feel that.
It's the greatest. And I love it. And, next week is Masters too. So I'll be talking about that because Tiger will not be playing in that. But the last thing I just want to show, what a disaster. The last thing I just want to show here are these pictures that were taken on the two from the NASA space shuttle that's not landing on the moon, but they're circling the moon. And these are the first photos that first mission since 1972. And I just think it is the most humbling thing to look back at ourselves from thousands of miles away and to look at this little blue marble, and every person you've ever known in your whole life and ever will know is on that blue marble, and all the wars and all the religions and all the agreements and love stories all exist right there in that photograph. And I just think that sometimes we have to look back at ourselves from further away to really gain perspective. So I wanted to show that and end the 2-hour lovely conversation that I've had with the both of you, because I just think it's so important to remember who we are.
That is lovely.
So, yeah.
Okay, peeps. I have a 12:30, so I got to run.
This has been so much fun, though.
Yes,
Great.
I had at noon, 9 a.m. my time, and I think my kids are probably awake now, and they have been sick this last week. So I think I might be lived out, you guys. So I will be on my Sunday salon tomorrow. You can join me there. This has been so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
We have traversed.
We're welcome
so
every and any time.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Saturday. You feel like
yes.
And same with Lawrence. So anytime.
Yes.
Okay, ladies. Everybody, it's so good to be back with all of you. So good to see you, me, my black eye.
I can't wait to see what your eyes look like once this all heals. I bet you're going to look like
we'll see
25 years old.
I hope so.
I can't wait.
I hope so.
Okay.
Okay, everybody. Good to see everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.
Bye, everybody.